Let's see. Aw. All I said, two of my fave rays of pure light. She's so sweet. I think we're
Hello.
live. We're here.
Hi.
All right, so we are live. Oksana, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy to have you here, my love.
Having me. Can you hear me okay? Can everybody hear us okay because of my microphone?
All eyes, you are one of my favorite rays of pure light as well. Can
Oh,
you? She's so sweet.
she's amazing. I don't know how she's a real person, honestly.
Am I stuck on my stream? Are we stuck? All eyes? Are we okay?
Says it's live.
Do you see it? Technical difficulties, guys.
Let me see.
I think we're okay. I don't know.
Okay. Oh my gosh. We're here.
We are here, but I don't know. Not stuck for you, all eyes. Okay, good. All right. So
Yes.
you can see us. We're fine. I'm about to post a link. Thank you, all eyes. All right, good. So do we both sound okay before you do that? Okay, I'm getting distracted by looking at the channel, so I'm not going to do that.
For me, okay.
All right. She's about to post a link. All right, cool. So let me just put this down so I don't distract myself. Oksana, I'm so happy to have you here. You are one of my faves of Delphi.
I don't know about that, but I'm happy to be here and talk about it for sure.
Awesome. No, and I really wanted to have this conversation with you because I've seen you talk a bunch of times, like with Cryptics, and you were on with Josh and a bunch of other places. And you have such an amazing story. And honestly, I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit about it because you also have this spiritual aspect to your story, which I find really interesting. And I think that's the basis of why we all ended up in Delphi to begin with. But if you don't mind, you grew up in the Soviet Union, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's your foundation, the foundation to not just your life, but your story as an advocate.
For sure.
Okay.
I don't know about the advocate, you're too kind. I don't see myself as that. I just think my experience in growing up where I grew up in Latvia, which
That's
was
right.
at that time, in Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there was a lot of experiences, things that I saw, things that I don't know, lived through.
Mm-hmm.
I think it in some way gave me the ability to, I don't know, see the pain of people, or maybe those that are like underdogs or underappreciated or not seen. People that are not seen, always bothers me because I think maybe growing up it was a difficult life for my parents. My dad took his own life when I was 9, and my mom raised me and my brother after that, and I had to grow up really, really fast, and
Mm.
everything was changing, socially, politically, just overall, just everything was so unstable.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no, our mom didn't really have the ability to take care of us the way, two children, probably any children should grow up. So that gave me the ability to see, to connect with people that are maybe unseen, or
Mm-hmm.
struggling or can fight for themselves. So every time I see that, it bothers me, and then something
Naturally.
that gives me energy, like if I don't know why, I have great job, I have kids, I have full life, but nothing gives me more, I don't know, juice of life. I don't know how else to say it, right?
Nothing activates you more than seeing some sort of injustice and
Yeah.
power imbalance, like all I just said.
Yeah, learning about it, like going to Delphi changed my life, honestly, not just to the trial, but to the trails.
So,
Just
right, I want to ask you about that specific story when you first drove in, but really quick, like, how did you? So you came to America. That was for college, right?
yeah, it
And
was
then
for
you just.
college.
Mhm.
Never thought I'd stay. I was in accounting. My degree was in accounting, and I came here 2001 in June of 2001. Not ever thinking that I would stay, and I got a job just as serving tables while I was going to taking classes at the University of Cincinnati,
Okay.
and then somehow, it was a year visa, and then my job promoted me or asked me to stay as a manager and kind of sponsored me to stay. And then I met my first daughter's father, and I just never thought I'd stay. My mom was devastated. I was like, how am I just changing life and just staying here? Because that was not my goal. Like, oh, I'm going to go to America and stay in America. I just wanted to learn more, not just accounting, but just to see people, to see America. I mean, growing up,
Yeah.
coming out of Soviet Union and into the 90s, when we first saw the movies, like Pretty Woman or The Ghost, like those are the two that come to mind right away, right? Like
Right.
we didn't have
Yeah.
American movies, like watching Friends, or I don't know, something like that, American culture. Or I remember first time somebody went to America and they brought back, like, it was like a really thick Sears catalog, like one of those,
Yes.
like really thick one. And oh my
Yes.
God, there was nothing better. I was just going through pages and pages, and I was like, leggings, pink leggings, like
Aw.
a doll, like I've never
Yeah.
seen a Barbie doll, like, or I was like, people have this, like a Barbie doll or a truck, or like just flipping through those pages. I can't tell you, it was happy, I felt happier than actually later on in life getting a Barbie doll, or as an adult I had to buy myself a Barbie doll here because it's just like holding it, it was just some kind of dream. So
Question. So the all of our American toys, like the Barbie doll or the Barbie house, things like
yeah,
you didn't have that sort of thing over
no,
there.
mm-mm.
Okay.
Only in the 90s it started coming.
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
11 when Soviet Union fell apart, and
Right.
then coming out of communist rule, and you know seeing, I think it affected me more than anything else in my life. It's like going from being under like the rule of Russia, right?
Right.
Latvia was a country that was occupied by Russia back
Right.
after the World War II. And understanding for the first time, I think, because I was born there, so I didn't know, to me, it was my homeland, right? And there
Right.
was Russian and Latvian, but there was more Russian speak, everything, the signs were in Russian, everything was in Russian. And then, towards the end of Soviet rule, people were standing up in their quest for freedom, right? So watching the nation rise up
Mhm.
to get away from the Soviet rule, right? And standing up for freedom and becoming free. And then what do? Like, okay, you're free, Russia's gone, and then you have to like rebuild everything, and you have to create a society, you have to create money, you
Yeah.
have to create rules. Like, it was so amazing. So a lot of people like, oh, she's a communist, like I always hear that, like, but
Mm.
I think it's most, people, when I talk about my upbringing, they forget that I experienced that quest, that rising up for freedom that Latvian people fought for, right? To get away from Russia, from under
Right.
that rule. And that was something I'll never forget, even though I was a child.
So I just want to bounce around a little bit. Given the current political climate, right? It
Mhm.
must be so surreal for you to have come from communist Russia. Okay, then you come over to America, you fall in love with America. The Sears catalog was like in real life, right? All of a sudden, all
Yeah.
the things that you saw on paper, just it was in real life. I'm sure a culture shock and whatever. You started building a life here. You met your daughter's husband, your daughter's father. Your get
Yeah.
married eventually, things like this, whatever. And then this disintegration of the culture that you came to fall in love with that was so different. Like, what is this like for you to watch everything that's going on with Trump and not just Richard Allen and Delphi and all of that, but politically everything? It must be such a. What is that like for you?
So first, I think in the beginning, it was hard to understand what's that freedom that everybody like American freedom, right? What
Yeah.
is really American freedom? And I think if you ask most Americans, the conversations that I had throughout my life here, I don't think everybody understood that everywhere else, like in Europe, there's also freedom. You can get in any job you want. You can become anything you want if you try hard enough, right? There's not like you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. So there's
Hmm.
also plenty of freedom.
Right.
Um, what made me fall in love with America more than any, like, what made me really truly fall in love with America is the people. Something
Mm-hmm.
about American spirit is unbreakable. Um, very full, like honest and open,
Mm-hmm.
whether you hate something or love something, right? People here are like fully invested in whatever they either love or don't like, right? Like,
Right.
and so later on in life, I realized it's the ability to speak about what they love and what they don't love, and being able to live together with different opinions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing, right? And what I see now makes me realize more than ever that freedom to speak your mind, freedom
Mm-hmm.
to have an opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is under attack. And
Right.
without having the experience that I had and seeing what I was able to see, right? My parents were kind of, I know where I get my, the maybe kind of like activist kind of heart. Like they would read books, certain books, and they had to get together with their friends like in the basement somewhere in some building and read the books or watch some movies because they were not allowed to, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And they were not, you couldn't talk about it. So
It's like
my
a secret
biggest fear,
society. Yeah.
right, absolutely. So my biggest fear, which I still think that American spirit, we the people, is what I truly believe in. I don't think American spirit will allow that to happen. But I see it happening, right? I see it happening because all of a sudden, over the course of how many last years, you have to kind of suppress your true feelings, your true thoughts, depending on where you are,
Mhm.
uh, what company you hold, right? You have to think about like, okay, here I can say how I truly feel, but here I have to keep my mouth shut, right? And I'm going to
Mhm.
be judged. And it wasn't like this. I
In
don't
the
know,
90s.
in the
Well,
even like
2000s.
2000s, I think last 10 years.
Right. Definitely, there's definitely been a shift lately.
Yeah.
Even online, just to self-regulate, and you have to self-censor to be sure.
Yeah, it's
It's
scary. People like for the first time, I see people being scared to share their opinion, right? To share
right.
not only political but just social, or you can't associate with these people because they're like leftist or they're like super Trumpist. Like it's just became more
Yeah.
divided in 26 years that I've been here. I've never seen it more divided. And I don't know what to make of it. I still
Yeah.
believe that that American spirit is going to persevere because that's what taught the rest of the world. That you have to stand up for the underdog. You have to stand up when you see a nation or a society or a group of people that cannot speak their mind. They cannot be free in their thought.
Yeah. And I think it's also a lot more concentrated too with those of us in this community, Delphi, and true crime in general, because number one, I think we're hypersensitive to a lot of the maybe the watching of the watchers.
It's a
And
phenomenon for sure.
yeah, so I think to see it, that we to see the public be more censoring themselves more consciously, I think is my greatest concern, because in this community we're used to that, like knowing that certain like investigators might be watching certain posts and tweets and accounts and things like that, right? That they're following the information,
Mhm.
and even what happened with Ange and things like that. But to see
Yeah.
that kind of like take a it, it's more widespread at this point, right? Like you don't know which three-letter agencies are watching you. And that's a concern for me, because a lot of people like from X, they've moved over to Blue Sky for that purpose, right? Because but we're just gonna let that go for now, right? Because it's just it is concerning for me too. But I wanted to go back to your how did you find out about which came first for you, actually, Delphi or Karen Reed case?
Oh, for
Like,
sure, Delphi. That's my one. I never followed true crime before Delphi, and even like the beginning of Delphi, it was just because it was somewhat in close, not necessarily in my community. I'm in Ohio. Indiana is very close to me, but it's like
yeah.
it's close enough where it's on the news, right? So my daughter's birthday is February 13th, and she was born.
Okay.
Yes, and she was born in 2003. So when it all happened, she was turning 14 in 2017. And
Oh
I
my
remember the
gosh.
day, I know, I remember the day when it came on the news in the evening and she was out, I think she was out with her friend, like they wanted to go like to the mall or to the movies or something. It was like one of those first times when you let your teenager out with the friend somewhere and
Yeah.
then pick them up. And I remember watching the news and she was already home at the time, but I'm like, oh my God, she was somewhere with a friend, right?
Mhm.
And she's the same age. Like how horrible it is. Like their parents are looking for those two girls. Like it must be so scary. And I just remember, it just stuck with me because I just remember that it's my daughter's birthday and she'll be 23 next Friday, which is February 13th. So that day
Right.
is
Happy
like
birthday, honey.
me. Yeah. And I'm thinking now, like, that's the same age Libby and Abby would be like. I
Mhm.
feel, and I know it sounds silly, but from that day on, like, I feel very connected to their story, not only to them, but the whole story, right? It
Mhm.
just kind of brought me there. And then there was like nothing, for years, there was nothing, there's one suspect or something, there was nothing. And then all of a sudden, there was this arrest, right? It was
Right.
like Friday, I think. And then we were all like, what? Somebody arrested, right? And then,
Uh-huh.
and there was like several suspects that everybody talked about. Like at the time, I followed Murder Sheet. Yeah, Murder Sheet. I was like, what am I saying it right?
You murder shit. Yeah, you can say murder shit. That's fine.
The language barrier. Sometimes I have to think like how I always say it in my head lately. But that's, Murder Sheet is the one that I followed for years and got my information from. I think there was like True Crime Garage and there was like here and there's a little bit of information. But I have to
Mhm.
say, like, I would always go back and listen to them to get my
Mhm.
information. News, of course, and then remember the arrest. I'm like, oh my God, and so
Mhm.
so awesome that we finally getting some answers, right?
Right.
And I fully expected to see some of the few names that throughout the years that popped up, right? Or something, some kind of story. And then there was Monday, I think it was like October 31st. Yeah, I think that's when the press conference. And I remember watching the conference and they gave his picture and just a little bit of information. And now looking back, that's when I was like, huh, who? Richard Allen, who? Who is this?
Mhm.
Like a local guy that's still lives
Mhm.
there? But I still was like, I'm happy that somebody got arrested, or like fully happy. Like, okay, we're gonna get our answers. I never thought it was one person. I don't know why, especially in later when I found out all the details. But it was like, okay, Richard Allen, but there was no probable cause affidavit. We didn't know any information. Like,
It was
wow,
sealed. Yeah.
be there must be a lot more, right? There must be like more people that they're about, there's like a whole gang of people or something. And then
Yeah.
I kind of course, after that, like I wanted to follow it just to know. And then the whole unsealing of probable cause affidavit. And I didn't know, like after Delphi, after Richard Allen, I got more into true crime because of Delphi. But I didn't know much about like what's probable cause affidavit, but I knew that
Right.
once it gets unsealed, we'll have more information. And when it got unsealed, it was like, what?
There's nothing there. Yeah.
Made zero sense to me. And that kind of
Mhm.
to bring back my upbringing, right? Like when you come to America, when I came to America,
Mhm.
I remember being, and you laugh, but I remember being on the plane and thinking, I'm flying to America. Like nobody dies there. They're like this, everything is clean, everything is perfect, and people only die of old age. And like there's no
It's safe.
injustice,
Yeah.
safe. And of course there's no like nobody would ever get jailed, right? With no reason or any kind of injustice like this, right? Like you have your rights and you have your due process, and nothing like this would ever, nothing terrible sort of would happen to Rick Allen. I never thought that something like this could happen. Even when he got arrested, that was my first experience of it. Was like, could this really happen in America? Like, could someone be arrested with so little? Like, I still didn't believe that it's all they had, right? So I was like, I have to go to some court hearings, to something.
S-
Like, I wanted to go and see for myself.
So you were following with Murder Sheet, True Crime Garage a little bit. So you were kind of in the field of like
Kind
understanding
of, but
it.
not
Right.
not not until Richard Allen got arrested, and then there was like Defense Diaries,
Okay. That
Criminality.
was my next question. Yeah, criminality.
um,
We all, which I'm very excited. Yeah. I think we all started
Yeah,
basically in the Delphi case at Criminality's channel. And
yes,
it's very
yes. I mean,
interesting.
I when I found her, I think it was after Defense Diaries. It
Okay.
was very shortly after, but I just like I went back and I like rewatched every episode. Just recently, I was like, I miss her. I miss those streams. And I would go back and like, well, is there one that I haven't watched? Because like it's a whole experience. Like I
It
can just close
is.
my eyes and see the purple color and her laughter and
And the,
sleuthy and all like the chat. And it
yeah.
just warms my heart. And you can find so much information. But I like scrolling, 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 scrolling. I'm like, not one is like that I didn't watch. I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna go back and rewatch it again because it's just you could find not only information but also people that really cared, right?
It was a
People,
community.
I don't know why I never knew that true crime community somehow is also very like has amazing people. I don't
Yeah.
know why I feel connected. I feel I get those people. I don't know why they're my people. I don't know why. Probably
Yeah.
sounds silly.
Not at all. And I kind of feel the same way. In fact, the Delphi community really freaked me out. I was a little scared of you guys, all of you, because you're all scary. Because you're so
Well, there's so
knowledgeable.
many different Delphi communities, and that's only when I got really deep into it and I went to and like there's so many different pockets. It's really odd.
How did you go from following it online to actually getting in your car from Ohio and going to the trails? Like, what happened there with you? Like, what was the activation point?
So, I think first I can't remember if I went to the trails first or if I went to one of the hearings that was in Fort Wayne
Okay.
during like a pre-trial. It
Okay.
was after
Interesting.
the attorneys were already. I can't remember if it was, yeah. It was after attorneys were, of course, I was following. I was like, what's happening? Like,
Right.
attorneys being thrown off and like whole Supreme Court and all that. But then I decided to go to one of the hearings
Hmm.
in Fort Wayne. It was like a
Okay.
trial was about to start, the original one.
Hmm.
Uh, no, I think I had made it to Delphi. I wanted to see what it looks like, right?
Well, I'm remember if you don't mind me, Oksana, there was a story where it was the first time you visited, and when you were driving into Delphi and you saw something,
Mhm.
right? What was that? If
So
you want to
that
talk
one,
about it.
that was during, yes, okay. So that was I think the night before the trial, like actually going to to the courthouse.
Oh, okay. All right. So what was the
The
first
night
time that you remember
before.
going?
So the night before, so I went to, now that I'm thinking, maybe I didn't go before the trial because, okay,
You've
probably
been
before, it doesn't
Ox-
matter.
for those of you who don't know, Oksana's been to many court hearings, many dates of the trial.
Remember which one
She's
was
been all over the trails. She even drove back recently because she wanted to make sure of something. She's
yeah.
on top of it. You had to clarify something that you
I
weren't sure
wanted to see
about.
how long it takes. My biggest question was, and all eyes will know,
Mhm.
I wanted to go because the parking, like the old Farm Bureau building, never made sense to me. An old CPS building, I just couldn't understand. Like people talked about it and they're like, "Oh, it's here, here, here." And I wasn't like, I don't understand what they're talking about. Like, because to me, like, why would you park here and then walk over there? Like, and if you look at the map, it makes zero sense
Right. Yeah.
to for me. Like all eyes is like she's so analytical. She totally can understand where everything is. I have to see for myself. Like
Yeah.
I felt super down. Like this bridge, and the first time I was there, and it took me so long to understand. Like that blue bridge goes over this big, almost highway, right? The
Mhm.
huge road. You
Mhm.
can't get there. Like you can't get there in the car. Like you have to.
Okay.
It's that blue bridge that takes you over. Well, there's a small bridge where I think Richard Allen, but you have to go over like this blue bridge when you're on it. Like there are cars underneath. Like it's a big, gigantic, huge road. So seeing it for myself, like it was, I was like, okay, old CPS buildings over there, and you're here, and it's just so out in the open, and there's no more building, old CPS building. So
Uh-huh.
if somebody was going to just come to the trails and just find two girls or a girl or someone to murder, right? Or
Mhm.
sexually assault or whatever. They will park right here in the open where you can see it's like open, out in the open. Like, why would you park there, right? And then so over the years, like recently, Fiend and All Eyes, and many people were talking about how there's, possibly a different, and Bob, possibly a different spot where he parked, right? So I wanted to go to Richard Allen's old address on Whiteman Drive and
Yeah.
drive to where most likely he parked, which is this little circle, little old building. Well, there's like a little bridge before the Blue Bridge. So when you
Mhm.
listen to his interview, he talks about this like roundabout, the circle. You can kind of roundabout, and there's a small bridge. You kind of walk through the gravel. And so when I looked at the map, I'm like, it most likely right there. Like that's where he's talking about. Like how do you not get it? Like it's right there, even from the map. But I wanted to see it for myself, right?
Mhm.
So when I drove from where he used to live to that spot, Miller's Park, I think it's called now.
Mhm.
There's this house and like a little circle, and that house used to be abandoned, old house that used to be
Mhm.
abandoned. With there's a parking lot now, and whether it's the house that's not abandoned and nobody lived there, or the one that was behind and now it's a park, like you can just walk out basically on the trail where that little bridge is before the Blue Bridge and walk
Okay.
on the trails. Like from his house, I don't understand why would he drive to old CPS building that's much farther and it's
Mhm.
not like the small road, Main Street that will take him there. So after that, I laughed because it makes zero sense where they said he parked. It's
Right.
much further. Why would you need to go there if it's a small road from his house? It took me 4 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Skin Row just said, and welcome to the show, Skin Row. I don't think Rick parked there mainly because Jerry Holman said that he did. Anything he says is a red flag, which is true. Like for real. I don't think he parked there either. I don't know. Where did he park? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure I know like that it's that by what's called Miller Park now.
Right. Yeah. So that was so basically the first time you went in there, like to the trails. It was just to like clarify and verify the things that you've been seeing online, basically,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And then
For myself, just for myself, what those trails look like, what the bridge looks like, and just what's Delphi is all about. And Delphi definitely, not to go into like woo-woo land, but
no, let's go to Woo Woo Land. That's where I like to go. Like, let's go
there's
now.
some kind of first of all, I think there's some kind of significant, like there's something maybe with that land, maybe years ago, ages ago, right? Some kind of you can
Uh-huh.
feel the energy there.
Yeah. This is
I,
the woo woo channel, Mar. Thank you. Now, okay, so there's so good. This is what I wanted you to get to. This is what I was trying to get you to. So when you go into you're pulling into the trail system, right? And you're starting
actually,
feeling this energy.
yeah, you're driving into Delphi, and it's like there are like small windy roads, and
Yeah.
there's old houses on the right, and there's fields on the left, and small houses on the right, and trees. And I was driving, it was evening, it was dark, and I've never experienced it. And I wasn't high, I wasn't drunk, I promise. So I'm driving, and it's dark, and all of a sudden, on the right, I see like the vision of like there's like a hanged horse or something. I swear, I was like, it scared the shit out of me. Sorry, I don't want to
Mhm.
cuss, but it was like,
It's okay.
and there was,
We'll let it
and
happen.
there's nothing, and it was like it was chilling to the bone. I almost felt like the whole town, like, oh, don't go there, like to scare me away.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So just to clarify, you didn't actually
I didn't
see the
see the
hanging horse.
horse. No, I
It was
didn't
a
see
vision.
a
It was a
vision, like
vision.
something in the woods, and it looked like a hanged horse.
Okay, and what the chat probably doesn't know, and the viewers who will come later, is that Oksana, and I'm not going to talk about your birth chart, but I do know Oksana's birth chart, and she does have an ability that I'm not sure that she taps into, but I'm not surprised to hear that you are picking up on the energy of Delphi. And I think that's partially, maybe subconsciously, what is driving you there. Like you're pulled in there to like survey the lands, basically. And I
There's something connection, some kind of connection. There's something, and I know it's for me to eventually, maybe one day I'll understand, but that connection ever since I knew about Delphi, I knew that I like it locked in somewhere, right? And
right.
there's like one of the biggest, I think, emotional experience. It was a dream. I fell asleep on the couch one day, and it was during like way before the trial or any, just kept
Mhm,
thinking about and listening about Delphi.
mhm.
And I remember falling asleep on the couch and having this, like one of those weird daydreams where you don't know if you're dreaming or you're not, you're like super tired, so you're like dozing off, and then and all of a sudden
Like
I like,
lucid dreaming, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, and I woke up in this like almost cold sweat because I saw in my dream,
mhm.
and it was before I ever went there, so I didn't know what it looked like. A river, small river, and there's like I don't know, I don't know, an edge of the river, and there's like a beautiful field, and all of a sudden I see this like a beautiful woman, like giant, beautiful woman, and to me, like I was remember like a mother nature or something,
Mhm.
and she's like finding the girls, and she's dropping to her knees, and she's like crying over them,
Yeah,
like with so much sorrow and so much pain, like crying over them. And I'm like, whatever. And I didn't know what the crime scene looked like. We didn't have any details at the time.
right.
And like something really bad happened there. Like, I know
Of
it's
course.
just a dream. I know, but the feeling of like the whole world, the whole like, I don't know, womanhood is crying over whatever happened there.
Definitely, and I think that's what called in that energy is what called in all of these advocates and all of these activists to this case, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Amazing
Free
people.
Ricky Bay. It's she has, like, visions of what has happened. This woman, Oksana over here, is quite the channeler, and she really is. She doesn't give herself enough credit
No,
at
to me, it's
all.
like maybe I'm just so connected. I was thinking about it so much, and trying to think like what happened to those girls because so many details were withheld from us, right? Nobody ever told us what happened. We hear here
Right.
and there that crime scene might have been like weird or something, and I even years ago like symbolic. Even I think True Crime Garage said like there's some kind of somebody, the killer left some kind of symbols. Like we heard it years ago, right? Or
Right.
something dark happened. So I don't know if the dream had to do with that or some kind of feeling about it, but I'll never forget like the deep pain of that whatever mother nature female figure that was like gigantic and beautiful, and she was like dropping to her knees and crying over the girls.
Mhm. Yeah.
Going to Delphi, seeing all those, you definitely, you go there, especially at night, you, not that it's a dark place, but there's energy of some sort. You can definitely feel it.
For
A couple of
sure.
people I've talked to, they say the same thing and nobody can explain what it means. Like if you go
Mhm.
back, I've always wanted to like really truly deeply research, and I think R&M and did a little bit of like of what, and maybe even a lot more than I know, like they're really looking into history of Delphi. I think there's something with, Native Indians and some kind of land. There was something, and of course there's civil war. There was like it was a site of some civil war um, battles, So there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of, a lot of significance there. But when you go to the trails, it's a combination of amazing beauty. I've never seen anything so it's really pretty. I was there in the two times in the fall and one time in the winter this year.
Mhm.
In the fall, it's just so beautiful. The colors of the trees, and it's just so quiet. It's very, very quiet.
Did you ever make it down to the actual murder scene? Did you go down the hill? Okay, you didn't do that?
I didn't cross the bridge, and even from the cemetery, you can't get there anymore. I mean, I think, going like walking the trail, and right before the bridge, there is a way. And the first time I was there was no sign. Now there's a sign, no trespassing.
Mhm. Right.
But there's a little trail that you can go down before the bridge and all the way around.
Mhm. On the
You
bottom
could-
through a little road
yeah,
there?
you didn't even have to go over the creek. Over it. There's a trail to go around it. But
Mhm.
it was always, I don't know, it didn't feel right, But I did wear off, and I told a couple, and I know it sounds silly, and from the pictures you can't really tell, but if you
Mhm.
see it for yourself,
Mhm.
I kind of stepped away from the main trail into the woods, right?
Mhm.
And yes, most people that like, go to the woods a lot, they'll probably say, oh, it's just naturally fallen branches, right? But to me, they didn't. So there was like right before you get to the bridge, close to where you get to the bridge, if you go to the left, there was like a whole field, like whole area behind the trees, like a long log where you can kind of like many people can sit, and the ground was like people walk there, like you just there's no ground, there's no like it's just all you can see that it's the walked l- earth.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of those branches that are like look like they're fallen, but they're formed in a
Mhm.
certain sequence, like, like you to me it didn't look like it's something could just fall in like this.
No,
And
it was placed.
partially they were charred, like there was some kind of,
Interesting. Did you get any pictures of
I
those?
did, and I did,
Okay.
and they don't look like, if you really look at them you can see the charred branches, like that there was some kind of fire, but they looked too uniformed. And I can, if you want, I can try to
To be
find that.
natural? Yeah, I would love to see them because I think a lot of the energy that people are okay, yeah, it could be historical, it could be Native American, could be Civil War kind of stuff, but honestly,
It's
that
recent. It
place
was
we're skinny. Where do because I it's a hotbed of there's a lot of bad magic going on in that area. And it continues to. So, I don't think it ended with the girls. It certainly didn't. I think this was just I don't know. I don't know what these guys were I mean, I have my own theory and I made a video about it that I don't really want to go into, but I think they wanted to get rid of these guys, and that's why they set these other guys, they set them up to do this thing as
something
part of an
really,
initiation. But, you
something
know,
bad happened there for sure. But that area alone, so if you go to the, so it's like a natural, it's like a park, right?
Mhm.
So you can't, it's like from dawn to dusk, right? So you can go there after dark, technically,
Mhm.
the trail system. But there are private homes, so there's tons of I mean, there's many private homes, right?
Mhm.
So like after dark, like people cannot go there, nobody can be there, but
Right.
there's private homes. So, and there's tons of areas to walk and explore, and like after, so those strange things in the woods, I'm like, why? Like what's I don't know. I don't know how to. I'm try to find a good picture.
No, like there are certain places that I've visited and you can definitely feel. You can feel like the evil that is done in the woods there. It's not nonsense. It's definitely real, especially when you're connected. Like yeah, and Skinny saying he worked there for nearly a decade. You can
See?
feel, hear, taste, and smell
Yes, you
the
just
sadness and
feel it
badness
just
there.
hurts your soul. Like it's a quiet, very quiet, kind of somber, but also at the same time very beautiful feeling. Like
Mm,
super peaceful, but also like you feel sad. And I don't know, it's because I know what happened there. But it's also very surreal. It's like when you leave the trails, you're like, oh, I'm in the real world. Like it's not, you're in like some kind of fairy tale that is all beautiful and scary and,
yeah,
you know, and the bridge, but it's also very, very quiet. One of the things that I wanted to understand and see for myself, like how if somebody was taken down on the other
yeah.
side
Mhm.
during the day when there's tons of people or many people, could you hear anything or not, right? And I can
Yeah.
tell you I will never believe the two, and I've had teenager daughter and I have one that's almost a teenager. There's no way they didn't make a
The
peep,
sound.
number one, a sound. But number two, it's even more important that the person who told them, to be quiet, they didn't expect two teenagers to be loud. So they expected them to be quiet and not to
It
say anything. Like, why would you even
it's
try to commit a
insane.
murder? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, if the
No,
girl, like, they couldn't predict that they couldn't expect oh yeah, I'm just gonna hold the gun and tell them to go down the hill and they will not scream or run. What?
it's ridiculous. It's the most and who just said it? Somebody Free Ricky Bay said not insisting on the jury walking the area was a huge misstep in my opinion, which is true, but it was probably intentional in Nick's part because you don't want people feeling that energy, right? They would feel the sadness to
They
be
would, but
sure.
I think defense should have, like, they wanted the jury to.
Oh, yeah, but they didn't get anything they wanted. They couldn't
Yeah, but I
even,
think
you know?
they dropped that motion. It's one of the things that I
Yeah.
think now going back, they'll probably say we should have done it?
One of many things that they should have done, but their hands were tied too, and it's
Hindsight
just
2020. So it's hard for me to,
exactly, um,
because
how
I
they
do
were.
know that they cared. Like when I first came to the pre-trial hearing, whatever it was, like May,
Mhm,
before the original trial, what was so odd to me, I had never attended a court hearing before, so it was interesting to see what it would be like.
mhm.
But the feeling that it had, like, from the very beginning, it was like it's some kind of like they're playing house. The
What do you mean?
prosecutor team and the judge, they know it's like
Mhm.
they know what's going to happen. They feel very confident. They know exactly what they're going to say, what they're going to do. Like it's
Yeah,
pre-planned.
yeah.
A
I
feeling that it's pre-planned. And the attorneys, they were just like
tell
from
me
living real life.
what was Skull's energy like, that bitch?
Mm.
What I can't with her. I How did you stop yourself from climbing over
She's
that bench
scary.
and
She's
dragging
scary.
her? Is she
Oh no,
scary?
she's scary. Like everybody was quiet. Like she is scary. She
Oh,
terrified me. And
Sarah.
I don't get scared easily of people. Like I love people.
What
You
is it
know,
about
Jerry
her that scared
Holman
you?
was like watching. I could tell that Jerry Holman was looking at me and like I could tell.
Well, that in itself is a nightmare. I don't know how you live through
He
that.
wasn't scary to me. Like
No.
I wasn't scared of him.
Okay.
Gol, I was scared of. Like she was scary, you know? And when Richard and I still wasn't like I knew what was happening wasn't right, but
Mhm.
I trial hadn't happened and I was looking for additional evidence and I wanted to know what happened, right? I wanted
Mhm.
to for them to prove that he is the man. I was like, okay, well, I'll wait to the trial and, we'll find out everything. So I wasn't like free Rick Allen. Now I'm 100%. There's no way he he committed those murders, right? Unless there's some kind of like he was part of something. But even then, I wouldn't believe it. But everything I know, like I'm 100% free Rick Allen.
So,
I
if can I ask you, even during the trial, you weren't 100 you were one of the people who waited to see the evidence in the trial
until the
before.
trial, yeah, until the
Okay,
trial.
interesting. So it wasn't until recently that you were absolutely
During the
convinced.
trial, yeah, with the 4 or 5 times. I think I got in 4 or 5 times. I think five, 2 full days, and then some other day, like just half a day, because you
Yeah,
couldn't. Yeah, it was easier for me to get there by lunch because everybody had to get there in the morning and then
right.
leave, and then people were standing in line, so it was easier. Even though it felt unfair to the people who got there in the morning, right? But it was my only chance because I knew with being living 2 3 hours away, like I couldn't get there every night that early and stand in line. So I would get there by, 10
Mhm.
o'clock and wait for lunch and then would get in. And yes, I mean, it was very, very obvious during the trial, especially because I did like a couple days in the beginning, couple days, one day in the middle and one towards the end. Um, and I got like the really good days. Monica Walla was there, Brad Weber was there.
Okay, wait, no, I'm gonna stop you. Tell me about okay, so the picture of hers, I don't know what was going on. She was like in a yoga outfit, right? A black yoga outfit, and she had all like box color auburn hair,
So she has
right?
pretty red hair. So she has beautiful red hair, and she had a green shirt on,
From
like
a
emerald
box.
green, and and
She was
and really like
green. It wasn't black. Okay.
no, it
Okay.
was green. It was dark, like green emerald
Okay.
shirt, red hair, and like pants that were like like yogish kind of pants. Um,
What was
she
her what does she sound like? I want to hear her voice, her stupid voice.
very condescending, no, um, cold, very cold and condescending. Like
Mhm.
she was bothered to be there, and like kind of sarcastic a little bit with
Interesting.
Brett with Brett Rosie.
Mhm.
She didn't, I remember even the woman, I can't remember who she was that sat next to me, we started talking, and she's like, she said she was a nurse or work, or like employed or some kind of in nursing, right, field. And she said, I wouldn't let anybody, like, I wouldn't let her to any patients. I would
Mhm.
I wouldn't let her work at Kroger with customers, with any kind of customers. Like, there's no bedside man, there's no like no empathy, no care. Like, she's like, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It was really odd and cold, and she, the feeling of like she was there to preserve whatever herself,
Okay,
self-preservation.
that's exactly it. So, did you see all of Monica? Were you
Mhm.
there for oh, okay, just the defense or
Um, it was the afternoon, so she was after the prosecution already. I didn't see the prosecution part, but I did see the defense
okay.
question, and she was very evasive. Tried to, I don't know. Yes, I did. Yes, that's what I remember. But yes, there's no notes, and she was just very, very evasive in her answers. You can tell that she was prepared, right? And every time they brought up like she's no longer employed there, or like she just this, she was just very bothered by anybody, questioning her integrity.
So you did an opposite Nancy Grace, basically. Like, so
Yes.
Nancy Grace did Monica
One day,
Walla for prosecution, yeah, and
yeah,
then
I was there in the
you took
afternoon.
her seat in the afternoon. Okay, got it. Just
I'm glad that I was not there for.
you didn't. Did you do a little video with a hat on in the wind? No, we didn't get one of
Oh,
those from you.
yeah.
Okay. No.
From what I heard, she was only there for like what, under an hour or something.
Yeah, she was there for the prosecution and then did her video in outside the courtroom with her hat on and left. She didn't
Yeah,
go back. That was all she needed to see.
yeah.
Rick Allen was
I did
guilty.
see Susan.
Oh, Susan Hendricks. Oh, please. Did you see her?
That one kind of hurt, like, because for years, I watched her before. Like, I liked her before. And that one was tough to acknowledge, right? But she was close with the family. I mean, she truly believes what she believes. You can't change her mind. Um,
I don't know. I don't know about her. What about
yeah.
Lauren?
Oh,
HTC?
Lauren. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lauren is a whole nother story. So I stood in line. I didn't get in for the first day, but I
Mhm.
stood in line all night.
Mhm.
Um, and that's where, like, I spent all night in line, from like 2 o'clock in the morning till, Andrea was there, and Lawyer Lee was there, and it was like amazing experience just to stand there
Aw,
all night and talk. I had them right there, and like we talked all night. It was amazing, like amazing. Andrea
that's
is
great.
a special kind of person, like
She's
just
so cool, and I think she's an undercover spiritualist. I don't think she talks about it, but I could feel the energy from her that she's, like,
Mhm.
really into meditation and
She's super
whatever.
smart, and like
Mhm.
her, boxing that she does, or
Yeah.
and she's like, I found, I think she was staying in Lafayette, which is sitting nearby, and she's like, I found a private club, and I worked out there, and just went, and it was just super, like, listening to her. I was just like, wanted to absorb everything she was talking about.
She's like an angel for Delphi,
Yeah,
for
she was
LawTube in
very,
general.
like, I feel so lucky that I was able to spend those hours with her, right? But there was
Yeah.
also two girls in
Okay.
line that I spoke and talked to for a while, and now I know that they are Grayson
Oh, the
and
homeless guy.
Grayson, the girl, yeah, like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were alright. So wait, Grayson. Okay, no, go. All right, so Grayson. Yes.
Grayson and Lindsay. Now that we know, like,
Okay.
Lauren wasn't there, but they got there the night before, and they were, we were in line, and I really, really liked Lindsay. Now, I just, from the very beginning, I was like, I like that girl. I
Mhm.
really like that girl. And Grayson just seemed like a teenager, just very, like, young and
Yeah.
inexperienced, not very, like, but she knew, like, people from, like, podcast or something, like, she was watching. So
Mhm.
Lindsay, she saw Murder Sheet,
That's the homeless guy I'm talking about.
right? And she was like, "Oh, it's them." Like, I could tell. She didn't tell me anything, but I could tell, like, I'm a people watcher, and I could tell that
Mhm.
she did not like them.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I was like, "Okay, I like Lindsay, like, she gets them, she
Mhm.
understands." And then later on, like, a couple times that we met, the second and third time, Lindsay was very quiet, like, she did not say much, and I could tell, like, the
Mhm.
separation. Now, looking back, hindsight 2020, there was a separation between, like, Grayson and Lauren, and then Lindsay was kinda on her own, right? You can just tell. I was disappointed because then they got connected to all those people on the other side. I'm like, "Why, Lindsay? Like, you are smart. Like, I don't believe that you could get swayed in your opinion." Now I know she didn't, right? But she was there to do the work. Grayson, we talked several times, and she's just a very, like, a child, sweet child. But I don't
So
know.
I don't get caught up too much in a lot of like who switched to what side and all of this sort of thing.
But let's
Um,
talk about Lauren. So Lauren
yeah.
was in courts
I
of
hate Lauren. I'll just say it because all right, go ahead. There's this one time she did, she did the lunchtime lives. I want you to tell your story. But this bitch went home and then she did a lunchtime live from her driveway and didn't tell her audience that she was in her home driveway
yeah.
doing a lunchtime live and she was getting fed information by what's his name? The guy, oh God, who like
Um,
what's his forgive
Aspen,
me,
Aspen,
but it was either
and Tom,
him or
Tom
the
Webster.
Tom Webster. Yeah, Webster. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think she was getting fed information and she's like in her car. She's like, oh, like 10 minutes into the stupid thing. She's like, oh, I decided to go home. I'm like, you're such a fucking bitch. And I
yeah,
like unsubscribed. I blocked her. Like, how
yeah.
dare you?
I
Because she's
watched her
so
too.
lame.
I watched her too before, and then like talked to me her
Sorry.
take on Richard Allen case, and she's the one who kind of remember during deliberations. She was the one. She was actually the first one to go on her lunch live and talk about what the jury asked. And she said, I have the first-hand information. I'm not going to tell you who, but I have this information from, what questions jury asked.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I think they asked for to watch the video and yeah. And so she was the first one to announce to the world what jury asked to see. And then she deleted that video. And the next day, Judge Gold kind of said, well, I heard that Defense Diary was talking about Defense Diary
That's
talked
right.
about
I
it.
remember that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, Defense Diary talked later on that night about it. She did it during lunch, and she said, "I have a first-hand information from the close to family source." And then I think later on somebody said, "Oh yeah, she had lunch with Aspen and the family, or something like that." So
Yeah. Right.
Laura and I first like met her because I already knew Lindsay and Grayson sat in
Mm-hmm.
line with them. So the next time I came to court, Lauren was there, and I just like I didn't act like I knew who she. She's just a person. I would never like, oh my God, Laura. Anybody I knew. Same thing with Susan Hendricks. Like, okay, they're just people, right? I'm not gonna just like,
Yeah.
hi, I know you. So, but we ended up sitting in the same row, and here's what she is a very unique, and she can get to people because she said, and she looks, now it's hard for me now because I know so much about her, right? But when
Mm-hmm.
she's pretty, she's a good looking woman, a
Every woman is
well,
beautiful.
well,
Her body is important to her.
she was beautifully dressed. You can tell it was expensive. You can tell it was very well put together, like
Mhm.
chosen, right? And her skin and her hair, like you can tell there was a lot of money that went into
Money.
her hair, right? Like her skin and hair, like everything was perfect. So we sat,
She married the right one to keep that up, though.
right.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
she sit there, and all of a sudden, like we in the same row, and then all of us, like during the break, or somebody, there was like nothing going on, and she's like, and I was talking to Lindsay, and all of a sudden she like interjected, and she's like, "Oh my God, who are you? You're so beautiful." And it took me I'm like, "What? What? You're talking to me?" And it just took me like a completely disarm, like she knew exactly what she was doing, right? With other women, she she has to find some kind of like disarm them in some way. And that's what I
Right.
feel like she was doing, right? And then
Okay.
we started talking. She told me about, like, I'm like, "Hi, Lauren, Oksana, whatever." So we started talking. And so she told me a little bit about her story and how she was a journalist. And she said, "So you're watching podcasts? Like, why are you here?" And so I told her why. And she said, "I used to be a journalist and now I'm doing this on my own." I said, "Well, I don't watch the news anymore. I actually believe more. Like I watch YouTube, I watch podcasts. I stopped listening to mainstream media, years ago. And I like, investigative journalists, private journalism. Like, and she looked at me, she's like, "Really?" Like she was surprised. And I'll never forget because she was genuinely surprised. And I thought like at that point already, like it was well known, many people turn away from mainstream media. And I thought she was like really, really surprised and thought, oh, maybe I'm doing something right,
Mhm.
and talked for a while. And at that time again, like I was hoping that she's there to find out the truth, right? And then when she started reporting, I'm like, why? It's not what was said in court. It's not at all what was said in court, right? And so, and Grace, and I remember telling her the first night that I'm really here to see the evidence and hear for myself. Like, if it's Richard Allen, I want to hear the evidence, right? And then
Mhm.
after Dr. Wallace's testimony, Grayson turns around and says, well, did you get your confirmation now? Like, this should have been your confirmation, right, Dr. Wallace? I'm like, what? She's like, well, what Dr. Wallace said, did you get your confirmation? And I'm like, we were in the same courtroom. Did we hear the same testimony? I'm like, how could you get from her testimony that some kind of confirmation of his guilt? Like, now I'm more used to this. Like, I almost feel like it's
Yeah,
two types of brains, right? We hear the same information
that's true.
and
Mhm.
hear completely different things. If anybody took away from Dr. Wallace's testimony that Rick Allen was truly telling or confessing, it's laughable to me. Laughable.
Yeah, and All Eyes was actually on, I think it was, like, my first live
Mhm.
back after a while, and she went through the confession, and she was, like, breaking down, like, her thought process on the writing, and it's really fantastic. I'm gonna have to have her back on just to, like, do that more
Yes.
organized if she'll do it, because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous to even
Especially
think.
it's ridiculous if you see him, and I can cry just talking about it because one, before the pre-trial, I think he was maybe slightly better during the trial, but pre-trial hearing, that one that I visited in Fort Wayne. So
Mhm.
we're sitting there, everybody's waiting, and then they walk in, all of a sudden you hear the shackles. And I think he had, like, it wasn't just like handcuffs, right? It was shackles and chains. And all of a sudden, this person, you hear first the shackles. And then I'm like, okay, Richard. And then I look, and there's this person who is so small. I can't stress this enough. Like, it felt like the chains that he had were like so heavy on him because he's the size of a child. My
So
daughter is
he's
11,
he's
and
very short, right? Very
he's
short.
tiny. Like, when I
Mhm.
say, like a small, like, okay, it's a short man or not very tall man, but he's very, very short. Like,
Mhm.
I'm a pretty tall woman. My daughter is a pretty tall, so I'm kind of used to taller people. But when I say tiny, I mean like tiny. Not only like he lost a lot of weight, but he's tiny. Like, he's
Five
sitting
three,
there,
5'4", right?
he's
I think
tiny.
something like
So I'm
that.
like, and all those big chains on him, and he was sitting there, like, you can just tell the person that was there before was not there. There's like a vessel, like he was so,
Yeah. The soul was missing from it. It is
yeah, he
missing from
shut down, and he was sitting there and looking, and like, somebody said, oh, he was just looking at the ceiling. At the Fort Wayne was a beautiful courtroom, first of all,
Mhm.
and I think it's like a glass ceiling or something. It was a really pretty
Mhm.
ceiling, like the light was coming, like, it was really pretty, and I think he was just sitting there and admiring how beautiful it was,
Just staring. Yeah.
just staring, um, and it's really like, and then when you see that and you hear
Heartbreaking.
about confessions, you're not surprised at all that he said something like this, because that person that was sitting in court had gone through something extremely traumatic, extremely traumatic. Nobody becomes that shell, especially people that are guilty. I can kind of, like, I've watched enough
Um,
trials after that to
yeah.
see the people that I think are guilty. There's like darkness in their eyes, and they're trying to keep certain front, and you can tell they're lying. Like, I don't know, and not everybody, of course, but you kind of tell in the
Yeah.
demeanor. And this
Yeah.
person he was trusting that, like, the justice system will prevail. He truly felt innocent. Like, not only seemed innocent, he felt innocent, right? He's just
Yeah.
so naive.
just looking at him, not even be I can't even imagine what it was like to be in his presence, because just looking at his picture, you could just know, you just feel it. You just know that he's in his eyes. And
Yes.
then what was it like, Oksana, to have witnessed him in person going through that trial, and then to see him in those interrogation videos before the
A totally
arrest?
different person. A totally
Right.
different person. Like you could tell that there's spirit, there's energy. Like he's trying to fight. Like he's trying to explain. There's like mind there, right? Like somebody who's understanding what's happening. But in court and in pretrial hearing, you can just like it's like the soul is there, mind is not. Like you can just tell that like super traumatic experience and like the person is shut down, but you still see a very kind, naive person.
Like all eyes just said, he'd been sensory deprived for he tortured. He'd been sensory deprived for almost 2 years. He'd been tortured, sensory deprived as and tortured, drugged.
Absolutely,
Uh,
like that picture that
he,
we all know about, like he
oh,
didn't
that picture.
run into the wall. I'm sorry. He did not run into the wall.
I mean, if a parent says that to some sort of child protective service agency or family services agency, that their child ran into a wall and looked like that, they would be taken away in handcuffs. It is absolutely ridiculous
Right?
that you cannot say that. And then, like, just to get back, like, because we were supposed to be talking about, like, the Soviet suppression to soul truth, and that's part
Pretty
of
much,
what this
pretty
is,
much.
though. No, it's like seeing that and that outrage, like it makes your soul want to do something, and it's
It
so
feels,
frustrating.
and
Yeah.
I know I can't do anything, I can't change that, but I also know that there's so many people that care about this person who is, I don't know, the injustice is beyond like anything I could sit here and explain, right?
Yeah.
Because there's also two lives of the two girls that beautiful lives that are gone. And the other side like to say, well, don't use justice for Abby and Libby. And I think we have every right to say justice for Libby and Abby, because my heart will not stop hurting until justice for them is served, right? And for those who believe Rick Allen is guilty, I think they should want another trial, because what that trial was, there was not justice. That was not American justice, due process, right? Like if you believe he's so guilty, you should be like, okay, bring it on. Like let's show all the evidence. Like he's guilty, so that shouldn't matter, right? If we have another trial that
I
didn't
mean,
violate his constitutional rights.
let us talk about Odinism at the very least. You
Like
know.
the amount of information that they were not able to talk about, or this very famous moment that thankfully I was there for it, like at the end of one
Mm.
day of the trial, like Andy was trying to argue, oh, he wanted to bring Elvis Fields. He wanted to get
Oh,
a
right.
subpoena to bring him to testify, like to actually go get him, because they couldn't serve subpoena, they couldn't find him. They said like he's on the run, on like living in the woods or something. Like he didn't live where his address was. Like he was on the run from that subpoena, and
Mhm.
he wanted the judge to go and like to get law enforcement
Right.
to find him, right, and to bring
Yeah.
him to the hearing. And Judge Gold was like, well, why do you even, like you don't have nexus there. And Andy,
There's no
like,
nexus. Yeah.
right, like, I don't even know why, like, why would he testify? Because you haven't proven, the nexus. And he said, Judge, I think we have very different understanding what nexus is. And she said, well, Mr. Baldwin, there's nothing. There's no DNA. There's nothing. And I remember Andy's eyes like, really say that again? No DNA? No nothing? Like
Mhm.
the double standard, right? Like no DNA? Say that again? Like our
Yeah.
client, there's no DNA of our client.
There's no DNA for Rick on at the scene at all. There's nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Opening statements were like so, even though I wasn't there for them, but then listen to Andrea and everybody, and you read now, you like the first day I was like waiting, okay, this is gonna be the day where prosecution gets to talk about all this evidence that they have, right? And they were
Mhm.
holding it under the lock and key, right? And hiding it from everybody. And now they're going to tell us what it was. And there was nothing that we didn't know, like zero
Mhm.
information that we didn't know. Nothing connecting him to the crime, nothing connecting him to the victims, nothing, no phone evidence, no, that people like to talk about, like, well, why didn't he have his phone? Well, who said he didn't have his phone with him? I'll never forget the jury
Mhm.
question was to Stephen Mullins at one point. The jury asked, could you have gotten all the information that you got from all the other phones, like Libby's phone and other phones, with just that information that you had about Rick's phone, like
Yeah.
IMEI, like, the other number of the Google phone or whatever he had, and his email and all that. And could you have gotten all the information on the location data and where his phone was and all that from
Mhm.
the information that you had about his phone? And all he said, yes, we could have. And that's
And they
it.
didn't. Right.
They didn't. So that told me that they
They
didn't.
didn't. Of course not.
Or if they did, there was nothing, right? They could have, with that number, they didn't need the actual physical phone. With that number, whatever model,
Yeah.
the number of the phone, like serial number and model, all that, they could have figured out, like they could have gotten the
They
data
could have.
needed.
Yeah. They could have done it for the
They
girls
may
too.
have.
They could have done all of that. They
They,
didn't.
they
Or
didn't.
or they did and they queered him. Exactly. Exactly,
Or they
Pastor
didn't, they cleared him
Portlinger.
and it
Yeah.
disappeared again.
Yeah. No,
It was
you
it
know,
was really heartbreaking to see how
I
easy it is to put someone in prison for 130 years. So
yeah.
I I was also, before this, maybe not right before this, but for years I was like, well, if you're innocent, well, tell them, tell law enforcement everything. Like, if you have nothing to hide, tell them everything you know. Now, after Richard Allen's trial and some other ones that I watched, you don't say anything because everything Rick said was
Mhm.
twisted, right?
100%.
Everything can be twisted. So don't say a word without an attorney,
You
ever,
can't. You
ever.
can't. You
I
can't.
told my daughter, oh my, like, please, if you ever get like some kind of situation, arrested, like something, just like, gonna call my attorney. Please don't ever talk. And she was like, what? Why? If there's like something I know, some information I know, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I tell them? Like, no, because you don't understand how you're, and it's sad to say because law enforcement needs us. They need regular day citizens to help, right? So it's
Mhm.
really awful for me to say this
It's
and
not
believe
though.
this, but it's not. I truly believe that it's not about like finding the truth, it's about closing cases, right?
And not
Which
just that, it's I
people,
think it's any system, Oksana, like, will use whoever is available to meet their ends. And I think, honestly, and call me wacky, because this wouldn't be the first or the last time, but we're conditioned to do this in the public school system, right? Where, like, that is the overall authority, and you have to fall in line, listen to their order,
but
and it's zero tolerance, and you need to tell on whoever. And that's what
it's
we're
hard to believe here in America, and like school system here are much different. I remember like being in school and we had to, like, I couldn't raise my arms had to be like this all day long, unless I'm
Mhm.
writing, right? We couldn't get out, like, to go to the bathroom. It was like only, during the break. You couldn't speak, you had to raise your, like, when I remember
Wow.
watching the movies and like kids kind of talking, or they could go to the bathroom in the middle of the class, like they could raise their, or like say, can I go to the
Yeah.
bathroom? Or they had like group environment, like they worked in the group. And even now, I still think American school system, it's not perfect by far, but it's so much better than compared to how I grew up,
I can't even imagine that. And imagine a kid with sensory processing disorder or
Yes,
ADHD
6 years
sitting in that
old. He said like
classroom.
this all day long, all day long.
Yeah. Incredible. Like, I can't even that it must have been so beautiful for you too to have your children experience something
Oh my God. It
completely
was,
different.
I wanted to
Yeah.
be a mom. I wanted to give my children everything that I didn't experience. So in a way, I like experienced childhood with them, because like
Yeah.
I could, yeah, it was like being a mom is like the most wonderful experience, and now I'm a grandma, and now it's like even better. Like
You're such a hot grandma. You're a
I'm a
guilt.
young, she made me, my daughter made me a young grandma,
Yeah.
but it's like the most beautiful thing ever. Like the love I have for that little boy, and I have two girls, so I didn't know what boys are like,
Mhm.
My girls were like serious, they were like serious. They could go manage something like when they were a year old.
Yeah.
I never had to like baby proof the house. I never had to like they would sit there and play, and they never made a mess. That little boy, oh my God, he's up and down on the wall, like he's everywhere, and I don't care. Like destroy my house, like
He's
destroy it all because he's also so sweet. It's like he calls me
aw.
Bobby. He's like, and he's just lights up every time he sees me, and I do this. I mean, it's just it's incredible.
Everyone is shocked that you're a grandmother because you are
I
just
am
so
gonna
hot. In fact, I can't remember who asked, but they were like, "Have you ever modeled, Oksana? Because you're
stop
beautiful.
it, stop it, stop it.
You're
It's crazy.
beautiful." No, you should be. She should be. I can't. It would be
It's funny.
unfair to other grandmothers if you started doing modeling for, like, on a grandmother type of brand situation. Yeah, it wouldn't be fair because 'cause you're so beautiful. That wouldn't be
It's
fair.
I think it's all of it. Like I know so many amazing women that don't like. It's easy for me to tell you somebody like any other woman like that she's beautiful, right? That she doesn't because I know so many women that just don't value themselves, right? They
Yeah.
don't see their beauty. But I can't say it to myself. I can say it to my daughters, my friends, like, but it's still like it's from growing up and from being conditioned. Like it's really for many women, it's really hard to appreciate
Yourself.
what yourself, right? And I think that's also a part of like I always see that if I see that in a person, that means they care about others more. And I don't know, it's like a blessing and the curse in a way, right?
Mm,
Because that part that you don't give to yourself in a way, but it also gives you the ability to see the beauty in others, right? To see the underdog, to help those that cannot help themselves, right? Because it's almost like we see maybe in them ourselves a little bit, and it feels like even
mhm.
small part of it is injustice. I don't know. I don't know why, but I do find that a lot of amazing women in this space, they don't value themselves, they don't see themselves, but they're willing to give so much of themselves to people they don't know. Like, look at All Eyes. Like, she blows my mind because the amount of time she spent on. I just think how scary it would be if All Eyes was not in this space, right? How much
Mhm.
we wouldn't know. We wouldn't have access to everything that we have. Like, look how many creators now utilize her website for
Uh,
information.
by the way, I'm super happy. I'm so happy. Brother Council is giving
Yes,
All Eyes
yes.
All Eyes your flowers for coming from Brother
It's
Council, and you
crazy.
deserve every single one of them.
We
I'm
take it like
so
sometimes we
happy.
feel like we take it for granted now because we know our lives, like she's there, that's the website. But if you sit back and think about the amount of work and how amazing that website is and how you can find something, it's mind blowing. And let her eyes, like this project, like it's all eyes on Delphi, and it like broke her eyes for a while. Like it's crazy. Like
You
she's
know,
some kind of angel that is beyond. I think prosecution team like they wish she wasn't in this space because they can't believe that somebody who's not paid, who's just a person who saw the injustice and decided
mhm.
to do something. She is there like it, when it's all comes down, and it is going to end. I believe in my soul that it's going to end in a way we can't even imagine, and when it all comes down crashing, all is going to be one of the biggest pieces of why it all came crashing down.
All Eyes is going to have a position in rebuilding the new Earth in a new system. Mark my
She's
words.
queen, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, no, she is. She's here listening. She's like, "Don't talk about me."
See
She's
what I'm
not
talking
saying
about.
that, but she
See what
didn't
I'm
say
talking
that, but I
about.
could feel it. She didn't say that. She didn't say it, but I could feel her like, "Oh gosh, just stop." But no, but it's serious. All Eyes and her work is incredible. But you like touched on so many things here that I just kind of like want to go back to. I think that a lot of this like the overgiving, and I don't know if it's not seeing value in self, but I do think that, oh wait, all I should say, I do for others what I can't do for myself.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, yes.
So
You do
the
the same thing. I told you many times, like how odd, like I'm in awe of you and your
well,
energy and the beauty and the kindness. And you're like, oh, stop it. And I know the feeling because I do the same thing. And it's much easier for me to talk about how All Eyes does it or you do it or, somebody else, but it's not the
well,
same when we talk about ourselves, right?
exactly. And I think it's part of our healing journey, right? And that's why true crime is so important to in terms of spirituality, because spirituality is all about healing, number one. And it's about a reconnection with the self. And it is through the service to others that
Yeah,
we are able to reconnect with ourselves, right? So I think the balance is really important in trying to do like give to others, but also to reflect upon like, why am I doing it, right? And why
right.
am I drawn to this case, and why am I
Mhm,
creating like a website that is going to be used as the standard for future cases
mhm.
and investigations, all eyes, and things like that. And so it's really beautiful to watch all of this progress,
Mm.
and to also see it in the Karen Reed case, because
Yeah.
there's parallels there a lot in
Oh,
terms of
100%.
the
Amazing
community.
people. Mhm.
In fact, I think they all had like a little bit of a falling out and things like that. But well, I'm really proud of Delphi because they had that shaky, there's always been a shaky period from what I understand. I'm relatively new to the community, but Delphi sticks together for the most part.
Yeah,
Um
and I think it's blessing also, like a blessing and a curse, of course, because there was no and I wish that trial was televised. Oh my goodness. Like, I cannot tell you, like, being able to witness it for myself, like, it's such an injustice and that people cannot see it. I will never, ever, ever forgive Judge Gall for not televising that trial because it was something to see. It was something to see. And she was so afraid that not only she didn't allow cameras, there were cameras all over you could see it's a very high tech courtroom because
Capable.
they had
Mhm.
cameras and she had like black plastic trash bags covered
She's a
around the
classy one. She's so
she was
classy.
so afraid that somebody's gonna tap into those cameras and see what she was doing.
Yeah. I And so just from the aspect of healing and like the fact that all eyes literally like her eyes were broken because like after working on this case, like I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but I put a return to sender just in case, on all eyes behalf, because it can't, it's too coincidental to me.
There's
It's
nothing
too coin
so if before I believed in coincidences, no. After watching the
I
Richard
was
Allen trial
so
and everything,
pissed. I was so pissed that that happened to All Eyes. I was like, "That's it. Like,
no.
I'm doing a
But
return to sender for her."
this is how even it gives me even more knowledge in my heart that there's God or whatever, something like that to brought such amazing people into this case. And
Mm.
unfortunately, I don't know why, but Rick Allen is like a sacrifice, another
Yeah.
coincidence, right? For something to change in the system. Indiana is, if you thought Massachusetts is awful, oh
Oh,
my
no.
goodness, let me tell
It's
you,
nothing.
even Ohio, like I cannot imagine this happening in Ohio.
Mhm.
Like I've went and I watched a couple trial, like a couple court hearings and couple, just followed just because like I wanted to see. And it's night and day, and it's like one state over, right? It's an hour away. It's a completely different, like you can't get anywhere. You can't get anywhere in Indiana. Like the FOIA requests or whatever, like they don't care. They're not
What
afraid of people. They're
No,
not, they don't care.
no, and, like, All Eyes, like, she'll post, like, every time she's contacting the clerk or whatever. It's impossible. It's impossible, and then even Andrea, I remember when she
Yes.
during the trial, and she was she was filing things too,
Yeah.
trying to get access to the evidence, and
For some
they
reason,
don't care.
they don't have shame. They don't have fear, and maybe Rick Allen's case is gonna break or break the dam. Because
Yeah.
it's people are looking into it, and people are like serious people are talking about it all over the place. So I don't think they want, like, now, sitting back and thinking about appeal courts, the court of appeals, and this appeal that's coming in. Can wait to see what Nick has to say, by the way. His brief, he replied to the defense brief. I doubt they'll want to for it to go further. Like, it's almost like they have to, in their mind, like they will have to approve the appeal to do another case, because I think they would be too embarrassed for it to go further, in up to and including US Supreme Court.
No, they're gonna win the appeal. There's so many. There's
It's
no
gonna have
way.
to. Like, I think that if for anything other than they're gonna be so embarrassed to deny the appeal and for it to go to the next step, right? Like, next, whatever, the circuit court, which is in Illinois, I think, and then after that it's Supreme Court. I think they're gonna be super embarrassed
Hmm.
about what happened during this trial. So if they deny it, even more eyes are gonna be on it. So they will have to.
Yeah. I mean, the systemic corruption, though, all
Yeah,
you
but
need
then,
is
it's gonna have to be really, really important to really think it through for the next whoever the defense team is, right? I truly believe that at least one attorney will have to be from outside of Indiana, like, AJ, you know, um, somebody who's not afraid to upset a judge, right? I could tell that Andy Baldwin, like, he is an amazing attorney, and he truly cared and still cares about Rick Allen. You can see it in court, right? But I
Mhm.
also felt like he was too trusting in the process, that the process that he believes and follows and dedicated his whole life to, that it was going to work. He didn't want to, you could tell that he didn't want to upset Judge Gold, right? Like, after she kicked them off the case and they were back, like, they were afraid to upset her again, right? And what needed to happen is to upset her. Like, it needed to be pushed, but I'm sure they would do that now, hindsight 2020, but they were really afraid to step on her toes because she's just so forceful. Like, she's just the big force of just nastiness and negativity, right? So they didn't want to upset her. They trusted that the due process and justice will win.
It's just too much trusting from Rick, trusting that he wasn't there at the scene. I know my gun was not at a murder scene. I know a bullet from my gun was not at a murder scene, he said. And then he's like, okay, well, then prove it.
Anybody who watches that in interview is lying to themselves. They're being
Right.
is being intellectually dishonest if they say they see a guilty man. If he was some kind of like mastermind, right? Like, mastermind, super smart, like he prepared for it, like he just was super smart, but everybody knows it's not Rick Allen. Like, he's just too trusting, and
Just like Andy.
in the system, yes.
Yeah.
And he's not
Like
very, like,
all
I
I
hate to
said,
say it, he's not very bright. Like, he's just a very good American, like,
he's a good guy.
Midwestern person who believes in American system, right? And Kathy, I got to, like, just I didn't really talk much with her. I stood outside a little bit.
My heart breaks for her. I
Oh
can't.
my God. And it was right before, like, we were waiting for I think the verdict or something. And I
Oh,
told her, I'm like, Kathy, I really believe, like, it's almost over. My heart hurts for you. And I truly believe it almost over. And now I wish I hadn't said that, because she looked me in the eyes, and, like, for a long time,
honest believe you.
she just, like, there was so much hope in her
Yeah.
eyes. And it was just heartbreaking. She's just a really, really, really good person.
And I think most of the people in that area probably are. And they probably trust the government, and they trust the system to protect them.
Not
Just
so much anymore. I talked to several
not
local couples that were in
Mhm.
line, and they didn't want to, like, they didn't want to tell me. They say, no, we don't, they're like, after, like, don't, they didn't want to tell me their names. They were
Mhm.
super quiet. They wanted to look to make sure nobody's watching. And they
Mhm.
didn't believe. I'm sure, I mean, there's plenty that believe, right? That Rick is, but there were many that came to watch the trial because they didn't believe. Uh,
Mhm.
and Libby's mom, I also feel like some kind of connection to
Mm.
her. I don't know
Okay.
why.
Yeah.
And she was, like, what was weird that she kind of said, so she was there with two other daughters that also
Uh-huh.
looked like her a lot. And Libby looks like her a lot, but the other two daughters, so she always said in the separate row was her and the other daughters. Like she didn't sit with the rest of the family or Kelsey.
Mhm.
And she was like, you could tell that she was different. And I was sitting on the opposite side, on the other side, right? And she knew that I was sitting on the opposite side when the majority of like Richard Allen is innocent. And I had
Mhm.
these red boots on, and she's like, I love your boots. And I'll never forget that. She's like, I love your boots. And she was, even though she knew that I was most likely, here to
Mhm.
support Rick in his innocence. And she didn't, she was, there's something about her that my heart still hopes that, that she's asking some questions. There's something that part of her does not believe that the case was solved.
Did the
Oh,
Patties talk to
no,
her?
no.
No.
No, she said by herself with the other two daughters. And I honestly didn't even see Kelsey talk to her. Now, I didn't obviously watch her the whole time, but I know like Patties were sitting in the front. Like I did not see them interact once. There was definitely like no communication.
So what do we think about the daughter who might I don't think she's going to get the case, but the trial. But what do we
Goals.
think about
I mean,
Yeah.
that's another one. Like how all of a sudden this whole thing comes out, the appeal, right?
Mhm.
And then what happened like a few days before she announced her appeal, I mean, her resignation, how
Mhm.
they didn't turn over like certain documents to the appeal court or something, right? Or attorney general wrote like a letter demanding that they turn over
Right,
certain
right.
documents. And then like a couple days later, she announces her resignation or right before it. So that's also not, she's not very old, you know?
No, no, she can definitely go at least another 20 years. I mean, I don't know.
Like she forced, like she wanted to get on Supreme Court, like she's on all these committees, like
Yeah.
it was shocking to me to find out that she's retiring, right? Like crazy. But then all of a sudden she's gonna go spend time with her grandkids. She's not one of she doesn't strike me as a person who just wants to be home playing with her grandkids. I'm sorry, but she doesn't. And then all of a sudden her daughter is running. Like it is
It's
so dirt, like run for some kind of other seat. Why are you gonna run for your mother's seat? And I don't know. I'm sorry. It just does not. It's just silly. It's silly for anybody to
well,
think it's
yeah,
not. Im-
yeah. No, I agree with you. And Free Ricky Bay said they gave her the option to gracefully bow out. It's bullshit. And I agree because there was so much going on there. So, and it's similar with like Cosgrove getting out of that case with Turtle Boy.
yeah,
Lally got taken off of the Karen Reed case. 1,000 of the Massachusetts State Police Department is gone that were involved with
yeah,
Karen Reed.
I have a different opinion. Like it might be in not a popular opinion, but
Mhm.
even with Cosgrove, I was like, why is Turtle Boy like he wants him off the case? I think like, and when I went to Karen Reed's trial, I didn't get in the,
Yeah.
but I did get into Turtle Boy's hearing when there was like the trial where he got like first day of the trial, but like he was getting,
Really?
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know that.
amazing. It was amazing to watch that. And the judge was really, really like after watching Goal, I'm like, this, I think it was Judge Dolan. He was awesome.
Doolin. Yeah.
Dolan. Yeah. And Cosgrove was obviously, arguing for,
Whoa.
you
How
know,
long did it take them to argue? And
he's terrible. And I'm like, are you sure you want him off the case? Because and it was the judge who was, it was a bench trial. If the jury will have to listen to him, they will hate him. They
Right.
will absolutely hate him. And Bradel, he was so charismatic. Like he was
Mhm.
so likable. There was like, it's the, he was amazing. So judge came back, so quickly with a not guilty verdict. I'm like, are you sure you want to roll the dice and like get someone else? Same thing like before. I was almost like upset that she resigned because number one, I think she will never get any kind of punishment, repercussions for her behavior in his
Yeah.
first trial, right? Because you cannot
It's
reprimand
almost
her, punish
impossible.
her, right? Like,
Because
yeah,
they
impossible.
have
But if
they
she
have
was a sitting judge, she could be, investigated or whatever, or
they
something.
have they have judicial immunity. It's almost
Yes, not
impossible.
criminally, but at least some kind of like, some
Slap
kind of
on the wrist from the
something,
bar, from the
something.
bar.
Yeah, or some kind of like the judge, something downgrade, or I don't know, or kick her off some committees or something, or some kind of
No,
judicial punishment, not criminal, right?
it's the same
But
as the church. They let you retire. I mean,
right.
yeah, it's the same exact thing.
Also, having her on this case maybe would be like second for the second time. I know it's not popular opinion, but her, like it's easy to like, who she is, how she,
Mhm.
you can like predict her behavior, right? Even though I do think like a regular normal judge would allow all the evidence in, but at least she couldn't, like she wouldn't be able to act the same way. She wouldn't do all the same tricks. She couldn't, I don't think she could after all this, but she didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
She's just like, I'm out.
I think, you know, I think she really loved, putting YouTubers into her court filings, and, that was, like, the
Even
pinnacle of
murder
her,
she.
yeah.
Oh
It
man,
was,
they
like,
were
the pinnacle.
mad. They were so mad when she's like, "Oh, we're not journalists." Like they were mad. How many times they, their stupid podcast mentioned like, "Well, Judge Gould did not consider us, journalists." Yeah,
Yeah, well, I hate to see her
evil.
leave,
No, I
and
agree.
I'm happy to see her go, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I have a feeling that they're gonna assign a special judge and again, to the case, and it's going to be somebody who is going to follow the law to the T.
Yeah, they'll
And
have to. And I wish they would bring a special prosecutor too. That the whole McClellan thing, he's such a sleazeball. Like you should see him in court. You think it's funny? It's just so
does he
so
ooze like used car
disgusting.
salesman? He looks like he
Yes,
smells like
Andrea was, yeah, like the
a
sleazy hair and how he talks to the judge. He knows that she's not like, he has full confidence. Even in that pre-trial hearing that I thought it was all, it was the one where they had to postpone the trial because all the defense attorney wanted is fair split of the time for the trial. So it was a I think it was like 2 weeks, but the judge only allowed 2 weeks, right? At
Mhm.
first, they were like,
Right.
even Brad Rosie said, like, I've heard that there's like, we can, we always have a start date, but we never have a stop. Yes, we approximately say it will take 2 weeks, but there's never a stop date of the trial, right? And so they were arguing how, like, we can have a stop date of the trial. And she's like, no, I already told, sent out all the subpoena to jury questionnaires or whatever. I told them it's going to be 2 weeks. And they
Mhm.
were dumbfounded, right? And then he's
Right.
like, Andy or Brad goes like, okay, well, can we then be fair and split our time? Prosecution gets a week and we get a week, right? I mean, it sounds like the least controversial, right, expectation or request. And she's like, Mr. McClellan, what do you say? And he's like, well, Judge, we have the burden of proof. And I just don't want to put any,
An
we are the ones
asshole.
with the burden of proof. And I just don't want to give any, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure, it's going to be fine. But I just don't want to put any, limits on our case. And then Andy goes like, so that means like if prosecution takes up 12 days of the time and we only have 2 days and then it's after 2 days we'll have to stop, And she's like, well, we have to stop.
Well,
And they knew, I could tell they knew what was going to happen, because then, like, well, are you asking for, continuance? Are you, basically, she
right. Telling
again,
her what to
the whole, like, you asked to be, recused yourself from the case or whatever. She made them, force them into postponing the trial, but it all sounded like, after, like, that it was their fault, right?
Mhm.
And then they're like, can we go and talk to our client? And then when they came back, um, Brad was like, he was so angry. And he said, Judge, we went to talk to our client and we had these 3 or 4 guards standing right by us. We could not even talk to our attorney. I mean, our client alone. Can we have some time alone? Like, we couldn't speak to our client
Mhm.
about his case and postponing his trial, continuing his trial without these giant guards. And she's like, well, you can go into you can
My
go
chambers.
in the room in my chambers, please, you can go. Because, like, he was so angry, and he's like, well, it's done now, I already talked to him,
Yeah.
Like, it was so, it was just so, I could not believe that it's like we're treating an American citizen, a veteran, or anyone for that matter.
I can't
with-
believe they didn't have a room. Like, isn't it pretty standard to have a place for
they
the
took
attorneys
the
to speak
hallway
to
or
their
something, some kind of set, like, and the guards were standing next to.
courthouse? It's a fucking courthouse. They have to have a fucking room in order to that's what they do there. That's crazy. It's
Who
another
does not,
bullshit.
who thinks in their own, in their any kind of mind, that you would not allow your client to talk to the attorneys in privacy?
Well, okay, and then here's the thing I wanted to circle back to. She knew that she was going to sequester the jury, right? Because we're talking about a bunch of people made comments too about the 2-week time limit, right? And then it's all I said here that defense told them in 23 that they're going to need at least a few weeks. Dickless agreed. Skinny's like, I've never heard of a trial with a game clock,
Yeah.
but they were going to sequester the jury. So because she's insane. Like, they already have everything, all of the media information is already locked down. There's no cameras going to be in there. There's like all of the evidence is going to be locked down. People aren't going to get any information at all. So, but we also have to sequester a jury. It's crazy. And so that's
It is
like,
crazy, and they don't have phones, they don't have even, like, at all, like, they didn't have their phones. Are you kidding me? Who in our society right now could spend a month without our phones, without any computers, even TVs, and their hotel rooms were taken out? And the only people they were like, the family visited them, I think, once a week, which is crazy to me too. And they couldn't speak to them, like, they could go and call, but everybody had to be in the room when they called their family, like some kind of Nazi camp. And then they went to and did some kind of activity once a week or twice a week. And
once a
guess
week
who
on
was with them
Sundays.
right away, all the time? It was Judge Gold's staff.
Yeah, it was the bailiffs. I think it was the court
Bailiffs. I think it
officers.
was her staff that she brought. And then you, like, when you sit and think about it, how do you know? They don't have phones, they don't have TVs. All they have is bailiffs, and who knows who else. The attorneys did not know what hotel the jury was. Can you believe it? The attorney did not know what hotel the jury was staying at.
But like Classic just said, did Gull stay in the same hotel as the jury? And Skinny's like, yes, until she learned that Murder Sheet was there, so she moved down the street.
Oh,
Interesting. I didn't know that Gull was in the same hotel.
no.
And I
But
want
I
to
didn't
know if there's
know
a baby
until
between that juror and I'm just kidding. No,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
know that until I read transcripts, that the attorneys didn't know where the jury was staying, because at some point, I think Jennifer asked, like, one of the sidebars, she said, Judge, I wanted to ask you, like, we have a witness coming from somewhere, and they have to stay in the hotel, and I just want to make sure, like, can they stay in this hotel?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and the judge, like, what hotel? Okay, yeah, you can stay there. So that made me think, like, if the attorneys don't even know what hotel the jury's staying, so they can't even have, like, let's say a private investigator, like driving by, make sure that nobody is, they don't know what happened. And
But
we
how
have
does
no.
murder how does, not to cut you off, Oksana, I'm sorry, but I'm so into Delphi. I'm in Delphi mode
The
now.
only
Like,
one that is
I was
like
gonna go into spiritual
driving by.
mode, but I'm so in Delphi mode right now,
It
so
is a
we're gonna stay
spiritual
in
one.
Delphi mode. But like, wait. How did Murder Sheet know where the jurors were staying and Rick's attorneys didn't?
Wait a minute.
How did that happen?
I didn't know
I mean,
that.
we know how that happened. Well, that's what Skinny said that. Wait, so yeah, wait,
Murder
let's
Sheet
back.
was staying in the same hotel that the jury?
Yes. So, well, first Gull was staying in the same hotel. Classic said, did Gull stay in the same hotel as the jury? Skinny says yes, until she learned that MS was there, so she moved down the street. What a bitch. I'm sorry. So MS could stay in the same hotel with them. Who got the first what? Juror interview.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yeah.
She was such, and the reason I didn't get in on the first day of the court is because of Murder Sheet, and that because she just took, like, we all got in, and I was like, everybody's running into this courtroom, and and I didn't know how it's gonna be, so like everybody, you wanted to be conscious of other people, and I was like, look, okay, everybody's seat got taken, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, there's Murder Sheet, Susan Hendricks, and then there's one seat open next to them. I'm like, okay, I guess I have to sit here. So I go to put my bag, and she just looks at me, takes her bag, and puts it, and like, it's taken.
The jury stayed at the hotel right at the I-65 exit. Gull stayed about a mile down SR-26.
I don't even know what hotel. There was one.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go
Which one
stay
did I
there.
say? It was like right off of the exit. Can't remember. It was a Holiday Inn, I think. I stayed at. It was nice.
I don't know. The whole thing is just, it just gets shadier and shadier. The
Murder
more
Sheet.
we find out
There's
about the
there's
fact that
something that.
Murder She stayed in the same hotel as that jury, and then they got the first juror interview, which was really the only juror interview. I don't consider Tom Webster's
No, no,
interview,
no,
not Tom
no, no,
Webster, the sports,
the other
who
time. Yeah.
the
By the way, I think I know. I think he was in line two, in the line for the first day, because I remember, like, the picture was very. It was him and another girl, and he said we talked too, and he was kind of quiet, kind of private, but he did say he was from Illinois, and then the other Tom F something something. Oksana, what did you think of Brad Rosie? I like. It's funny to me because like David Yannetti and Andy Baldwin, to me, are the
yeah,
same thing, like same
yeah,
thing. And Brad Rosie and Alan Jackson are
the similar energy.
same, a similar energy.
Yeah.
I think Brad is a really good attorney, and I think he's very, like, aggressive attorney, right? But I don't think he's like as connected to everything. Like Andy was, like, he knew the case from inside out, and was like he knew, like, I don't know why.
Would you
Brad
say
is
that?
good. You need a good attorney. He's gonna be a good aggressive attorney, right? But I think he moved, like, he has case, and he moved, which rightfully so. You can't be so connected to the case, and, like,
And try it.
and, like, if you lost it, like, I don't think you can continue to be a defense attorney if you get connected so much to every case. And that's why I don't think I could, because it would break my heart, to lose a case. I think Andy's still stuck there, and I think Brad just moved on in his other cases. Um,
Did he give it 100%? In your opinion, did he give it 100% like AJ did?
mm,
No, no. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think AJ he has enough experience as a prosecutor and defense attorney to know all the tricks, right? And he knew early on that there was corruption and there was like, so he
He took the
prepared for every
he
little stuff.
AJ took the case because of the corruption. Karen
Yeah.
emailed him and
Yeah.
begged him to take a
Mhm.
look at the case, and
In
he
some
took the
cases, like in some respect, he was a little bit too aggressive, like especially like sidebars now. Like but good for him. Like fight for it, right?
Mhm,
It wasn't like that. Like you can, you read the sidebars from Karen Reed trial and you read sidebars from
mhm,
Rick Allen trial. They're too nice. They're not argumentative. They're just like
mhm.
trying to please her, and it wasn't a fight,
Oh, what's interesting, I I think, is that with this, I wonder who's going to come and do pro bono for Rick. And I think people, we were like people were saying in the
Somebody
comments,
from
it's gonna be he's gonna have, yeah, I don't know who, but
Alessi
like
would be amazing, like, and like,
that's what they were saying.
people probably will disagree with me that, if I had to, like, that Andy should still be on the case. I think there should be three attorneys and one of them probably should be Andy because he
I
just
agree.
truly loves, I mean, he is invested in Rick life in the case and he knows enough, but they have to rely on, like, we know more about the case. I truly, truly know with my heart and my brain everywhere that we know more about the case than Andy does.
They need Andy needs like an Alessi, like everybody's
Alessi,
saying,
Alessi would
or
be, oh,
and there's ever
Andrea. Oh my
an
God.
Alessi and an Andrea, somebody
Bob, like,
who,
imagine
yeah,
Andy,
somebody
Bob,
who's
and
just
Andrea.
like an Aquarius type of like mind, like somebody who's just so
Mhm.
not in their heart. They're like a machine. Like that's what they need. That's what Rick
Like somebody
needs
who's gonna
because
drill, who's gonna be like, no, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna go over this. It doesn't matter that you're tired, doesn't matter that we're gonna go over every little thing, like every little detail,
someone who's gonna fight. Like one of the things that made me so upset, and it's hard not watching it, right? And reading the transcripts is one thing, but like
It's not so,
when she wouldn't allow the defense to like impeach.
I
Um
know, like she has
so
some kind of rules that I still to this day I don't understand. Like Brad Weber, right? Like they had a report from FBI where
mhm,
he testified, like he gave information about being at home, like different time, right? Getting home or going somewhere, like the whole time difference between the time he got off work or went home and all that. They had a report and they let him look at the report. He's like, no, I don't know what it is. Okay, it's a report that FBI agent, no, I don't remember saying that. And so they couldn't use that report to impeach him just because he couldn't remember saying that. Like what? It
but
was all
it doesn't make
bizarre.
sense. Right.
Okay, if the FBI agent couldn't testify, then they wanted to bring that FBI agent who interviewed Brad Weber by Zoom because he was like working elections in Texas and he
Exactly.
had
It
a
was election
condition that
day.
he couldn't fly. She wouldn't allow, after the COVID,
Yeah.
after all the court hearings that the whole world is holding hearings via Zoom, she would not allow.
One witness to appear by Zoom.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think it was like Andrea talked about it, but I don't think it's talked about enough. Like there was plenty of seats, so there was a
Hmm.
whole table, and there was a couple other one. Like there were guys like that looked like either FBI agents or like with Attorney General, like Men in Black. They were sitting
Yeah.
there. Uh,
Who's did Andrea say that? Because I remember somebody talking. It was
yeah,
her that
Andrea
said
was
it.
talking.
Okay.
Like
Mhm.
to me, they look like your typical FBI agents or something. But Andrea then said it's Attorney General guys, because you know who sat with them at that table often?
Who's that?
Kathy,
Holman.
Kathy,
Wait, who?
Kathy
Cat?
Schiff.
Kathy Shanks.
She sat with them, and like I remember, like bring either car, like she was sitting with them at that
She
table.
was
So
sitting
like,
at FBI. No, just kidding.
that's why I don't think it's FBI.
I know. Uh,
So there's a lot, and let's not even, like the whole. Yes, they need to hire all eyes, like for the trial. Like there's no better way of organizing paperwork because it's kind of like they don't know everything the way all eyes does. Some of us do. Like they don't have all the. And Andy is an amazing. Like he's a great
yeah.
person, but nobody will have enough. Like they didn't include any of the online community, right, for research, but prosecutors sure did,
Well, yeah, and I think that's again, it's the defense trying to do the right thing, trying to follow the rules as it has always been, like kind of like a what was her name now? I forgot. In Massachusetts, what was that judge's name? Aunt Bev. Like this is
Yeah,
how it's
yeah.
always been done. Like
Canoni.
Canoni, right? Like this is how it's always been done. And that's kind of what the attorneys were doing,
She's a
right? In
Montessori
Delphi.
compared to Goal. Like she actually
Always.
yes,
Yeah.
she was probably, there's a lot of rulings that she did, the questionable and all the grave concerns,
Mhm.
But I also think it's because, if you really think about AJ's tactics, I think a couple times he scared her, like kind of like bending the rules a little bit. So she always
Yeah.
expected something to jump out, something. And Gold didn't care. Like she knew she had him under her thumb, and that's it.
Well, yeah. And I think like the fact that, but just back to Delphi real fast, the fact that they didn't utilize the online community, I think was playing into like, we're going to play by the rules. This is the way that it's always been done. Yeah, there's a lot of internet activity and interest. So we're not going to upset the system by including these people, like these people on the internet, even though I think they did a lot more than they say, but not like
No,
all eyes
they
is
didn't know
saying.
much. I see what she's saying. Yeah, offered to
Yeah.
help old council, new council, and volunteer council. There seems to be weird. Yes, they almost, and you can hear it in a couple of his interviews. Like they were so scared to like release, and they think they're gonna do it in their circle. Although I think they allowed some people, some invest. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
there. There's some questionable people, but
Yeah.
I think they're afraid to bring anybody in that is like the wrong person, right? But the state accused them of exactly what they were doing. You know how it's like every accusation is just a confession.
Exactly. It's a projection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do on the second trial because now you have the example one of like everything that we've seen, like with all eyes, and she's getting her flowers, thank God,
Mm.
and the rest of the community as well. But also Luigi Mangione, his lawyers are putting everything up on the website. Every court
Yes.
filing, you don't even have to dig for Luigi
Transparency is
Mangione.
so important,
Mhm. Yeah.
so important.
Yeah, and Ashley Benefield's trial, that was they had the website as well.
Hold on, who
Her
is she? Oh yeah, yeah,
uh yeah,
yeah. Uh,
she's in prison for 20 years. It was the defense
yeah,
was
I remember that.
self-defense.
Yeah,
She shot
ballet
her.
dancer.
But it was a terrible case because she was a victim of narcissistic
Yeah,
abuse,
I watched
and
it. It was
it was terrible. But
Zachariah Anderson. I watched that trial. That was one that I was like, okay, they found some, like, it just didn't. It was before Rick's trial, so I was like, they must, and I didn't watch all of it,
mhm,
but I'm like, I must have missed some evidence that they had, but none of it. I didn't think he was going to be found guilty, like some kind of smear, a tiny little blood. I don't know. That could have been play. Now that we know what we know, who's to say they're not going to just not go swab some of the blood on the inside of the van? Like what? They removed. Come on, they removed. If there was a body in his van, There wouldn't
I
be
don't
just
know that case.
little.
I
Well,
didn't get
it's
into
for you
it.
to look into. I don't know it that much, but it's really
Yeah.
weird.
I think
The
Hella's
one
really into that, right? Isn't Hella?
Hella's into it, yeah, and I
Yeah.
think Nick Nick
Okay.
started.
Okay.
One I started watching last night in my hair, like today I was at my daughter's volleyball tournament and well, in between games sitting there and listening. My last night I started listening a little bit about this Faust.
Oh
Ben
yeah. I haven't been
Oh,
following
oh
anything
my
new.
God. I didn't want to get into it because I can't do another heartbreak like that. But
Mhm.
now I'm stuck because wait till you see. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely crazy.
Is it is it that bad?
It's like it happened in yeah, 25 years ago, 2001. This law student gets murdered,
Okay.
and her boyfriend, who like a plumber, that they're like have a really contentious, really like on the verge of breakup. And he's a plumber, and she's probably moving on and studying, and they're on the
Yeah.
verge of breakup. They at first they didn't find any DNA. She was like raped, strangled, and burned.
Mhm.
So first didn't find any DNA, and then there's this task force like of investigating the cold cases. So in 2023, they reopened the case
Mhm.
and started looking into evidence. And of course, DNA analysis and all the technology's gotten better. So they
Mhm.
found the male DNA in the vaginal and anal areas, and including hair. And that DNA was of her ex-boyfriend, who days after the murders had like hands that were all cut up like crazy. And if you look at his, like, he is this kind of looks like this ex-husband of this Monique from Columbus, Monique Tepe,
Okay.
her ex-husband that killed her and her husband. It's close to me in Columbus. It's crazy. But you like,
Wow.
and so they found this black guy who somehow some partial of his DNA, I don't know, I haven't gotten to that, the partially like his DNA in her mouth or something like that. But it's a black guy who was just, they don't have anything other than potentially some DNA in her oral areas or something. But there's injuries on private areas, and the DNA of this dude who said they didn't have 25 years ago, he said they didn't have sex for ever, right? But then he's like, oh,
Mhm.
maybe when he gets questioned, right? Oh, maybe we had maybe we had a like a hookup on Sunday, but it was Friday, and his DNA was still on her private areas, and his hair is in her hand, and there's like this black guy on trial. Like it's insane, and the judge is even worse, another woman judge. Now that I'm thinking, like every awful judge that I've seen was a female judge. Why? It makes me want to vomit to think that women
Mhm.
is so awful. That male
Yeah.
judges are somehow better. Like, what is wrong with us women?
These women, okay, so I have this whole theory,
Help
and it's
us.
gonna
What is
ta
wrong with women? Like
yeah,
those women. Like I
they
can't imagine.
they wanna be in the boys' club, you know? So they'll do what they need to do, like, because they don't value themselves. So, right? So we all have the same issue, but how do we achieve, like, try to heal ourselves? How do we fill that void? Are we actually trying to help other people to see who we are, right? And like
But
allow
it
that
matters.
projection
Like
and
Bull is a grandmother, right? Like how does she
yeah,
go to sleep at night thinking how many people she put to death and what happened to her? Like how does she sleep at night? Or
just fine.
Judge Bev, she's a smart woman. She sat through that trial twice. She knows a car did not hit John O'Keefe. Any person with even half a brain knows it wasn't a car. Like it was, the car was not involved. Like how does she sleep at night? I don't understand.
How do the secretaries in all of these archdiocesan offices who
Oh,
move
that's, I'm sorry.
move letters from like victims, children victims of clergy sex
I
abuse, like
don't know.
how do those people sleep? It's the same thing. It's they're part of a network, then they sleep just
And
fine.
I want to
They're
start looking more and more into Epstein files because for years I was like, nope, nope,
That's
no.
what I was gonna say. Like you're mentioning these cases, and I'm like, yeah, I think the next thing I'm have to get into is the Epstein
I have.
files because it's just
There's a lot of
it's big.
women. I went through the files and was looking at the names and stuff. There's so many Russian names of Russian girls and Russian men that were like, he reminds me of this Russian mm, guy from the 90s who like a part of like when Soviet Union broke up and now or fell apart, and now there was like mafia uprising before the true government could be put in place, right? There's like
Mhm.
mafia and like, oh, crazy stuff. He reminds me of one of those guys. He reminds me of a Russian character so much that I can't, like, gives me chills. And then I started looking, and there's so many Russian names. Why? And
Mhm.
young girls. And I can tell you that lots of young Russian or, Slavic or from those
Yeah.
areas, women, girls, they were not taught to ever respect themselves. Like women, the men were, you just do what they tell you and you have no voice. Girls here, like unless they're from really broken families, they didn't have it, like really, really broken families.
Mhm.
It would be much easier to traffic Russian girls and Ukrainian girls and like, former Lithuanian girls a lot easier because they're like, oh, America, or like modeling, oh, whatever. But they will do what a powerful rich men will tell them to do.
I mean, and further, it's
Stuff like that going on. I can't.
well, I mean, okay, so I did, and I'm a tarot reader for those of you who don't know. That's how I started posting on YouTube, and then I don't know, I just I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm doing, but
You know
I did this
what to do.
tarot reading. Yeah, I did this tarot reading 2 years ago, and there were a bunch of readings that I did 2 years ago, and it's like in January 2 years ago, and a lot of those readings have actually come to fruition or are in the process of it. And one of them was this huge, like, global sex trafficking video tarot reading, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm trying to find it because what was interesting was in my comments and in my emails, I got a lot of comments and emails from women in all over the world saying how they were sold into sex trafficking by their parents as little girls and then returned back at some point. It was like they were leased out to these
Yeah. And
elite
I understand why they
pedophile
don't
rings.
talk about it. They don't want to talk about it.
They
Like,
are moms now. They're moms now. You would
yeah,
never know that they were sex trafficked as
it's
kids.
completely for another day. But, I was 16 and it was some terrible thing happened by my actually aunt's husband. And he was a much older man. And for years, even now,
Mhm.
I cannot talk about it. It's embarrassing. I feel like part of it was my fault.
No, it wasn't your fault.
I know, but that's how the girls get groomed.
Guilt, it, yeah.
It's like
And the
Aaron
grooming starts
Spencer's
way
daughter,
before. Yeah,
Aaron Spencer's daughter, right? Like, so, like,
right.
no 14, 15, 13, 16-year-old girl can understand what's happening. Like, it's easy for a girl to get infatuated by an older man who's giving her attention because they think it's something like their young minds, they are not ready to absorb what's happening, right? And those evil men can be charming enough, can pretend like they're those prince charming, and like a little girl of that age doesn't understand. They think they are in love, somebody's in love with them, right? Like, it's crazy for me to think that anybody, like in Aaron Spencer's case, that anybody can think that that girl willingly went with this old creepy man, and it's her, like, she just, because she went, and it should be fine. Like, the grooming is a real thing. Those girls, even they feel like they're falling in love, but it's not consensual relationship. It's predatorial behavior by those awful, that I don't even want to call men, because men that I know, and friends that I have, true good men would never go there ever.
All right. So first of all, the fact that it ever happens to a young girl or a young boy is absolutely reprehensible. Number 1. But the fact of the matter is that adults can be groomed in exactly the same way.
Sure.
Why?
Sure.
Because they have never healed their inner child. So it doesn't like if they do it to a kid, it's absolutely reprehensible. But it happens all of the time to
All the
adult
time, more,
women.
a lot more than we know. Like I'm sure even in this chat, there will be stories that are going to be heartbreaking, but
Exactly.
women don't want to talk about it because it's embarrassing, it's traumatic. You want to forget it and put it in this box somewhere far away because now it doesn't affect. Like we don't want to go there. It's under a lock, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of good men, that majority, like many good men. Doesn't mean that there are no. I think it's very important in this culture, and especially right now with everything that's going on, I think it's very important to lift up many good men,
Like skinny.
like Skinny, right? Because
Right.
I don't want it to be forgotten that there are so many good men, right? In our community, there are a lot of good men, a lot,
Amazing. Amazing men.
amazing men that will defend and protect women and laugh with
And they
us
do.
and cry with us, amazing men, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's really important that we do that. It doesn't the evil men that there exist, they will not defend them either. I
No.
know he was a chief of police in Indiana. That was weird. I don't think it's anywhere close to, but it's weird. How was he a chief of police in Indiana? Like, why is it always? I don't know. It's just weird. Can't wait for that trial.
You know what was
No jury is
interesting?
going to convict him. I'm sorry. There's no jury
Yeah.
that's going to convict a father who killed a predator that was raping his daughter. I'm sorry. There's just no way.
But they shouldn't even be charging him. Like
I
you
know.
know
Hopefully they'll drop it.
grand jury presentments where they're like
Yep.
investigations into like the facts of something that's like a public safety issue, it's a
Yep.
public concern. Okay, so like there's some other like option that I mentioned that like in a tweet or something, and Andrea actually responded that there's like something similar to that, like in terms of like what went wrong with the case, or I don't know. And it was like an option or something that they could do instead of charging this guy. Like in terms of like what went wrong with the system. How did
Mhm.
this fucking pedophile get out of
5,000,
jail?
like 5,000 or something. How much? I can't remember how much, but he got out of jail after what? How many counts? 40 counts? I mean, she was 13,
Yeah, how the
13 years
fuck did
old.
he get out in order to do that?
Yeah, and I'm
I'm
sure he was probably ordered to stay away, right?
Yeah,
So as a father, as a parent, you know that this man is out on bail for doing that to your
5,000.
daughter, and now your daughter is in the car with him. He knows he shouldn't be around her, right? That he has a probably stay away order and whatever. So he's gonna do you think he was gonna bring her back home? Of course not. He was gonna like take her somewhere and or kill, like, I don't know,
I don't know
both
what
of
he was
them.
gonna do.
He wasn't bringing her back home. So
No.
yeah, 43 counts, 5,000. Like, who in there? And then the worst in that case is that dash cam video that supposedly he had in his truck didn't work. Like, where's the SIM card? I'm sorry, what SIM card? What are you talking about? Gone. Boom. What? What? Like, seriously? Hi, Spooky.
Hey, Spooks. Good to
That's
see
enough.
you.
Yeah, she's
I don't
also
know.
flawless. What? Just
It
gone. The footage that
Yeah.
would have captured that
Mhm.
moment, right? Gone. SIM card didn't arrive or like it lost.
Oh, right, yeah, that's right, I remember, like, didn't they sent it or something like that?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. He transferred
I
his house to his daughter 3 weeks before he. Wow.
Wait, he transferred his house to his daughter 3 weeks before he kidnapped. Oh, okay.
So he was gonna take her away somewhere and like never come back or do something to both of them. I'm sorry, but that
He
father
was
did
getting
like,
ready to yeah, he was getting ready to kill both of them probably.
yeah.
Yeah, or kill
And
himself
she was
and
in
her.
love and she probably felt sorry, whatever. Even if she went willingly with him, right? It doesn't
Mhm,
matter. It doesn't matter. It just means, it just tells you about how evil he is to do
mhm.
that. 60 something years old to 13, 14-year-old girl. It's awful. There's no jury in the world. First of all, they should have never, ever charged him. but there's no jury in the world that would convict that man. Like they just attracting more attention. They want to put it, for the world to see. Really, you really want to show that to the world? Mm.
I don't know. So that's going to be an interesting case to watch. And I'm really glad that Defense Diaries went down. That was great.
No, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
That was really cool.
They made that trip for nothing, but hey,
It's so gullified too, because they picked what the
no
smallest,
cameras. Yes, and then
not
only
just
like
the
40.
smallest, the
So
smallest courtroom, the smallest
yeah, and
courtroom.
only like 50. I think it said the 50 members of the public, right?
Yeah, something like
And the
that.
defense asked for 40 seats, including all their witnesses. Like they just wanted to shut down.
The sheriff and his staff have a civil rights suit for SA.
God, see, that's the whole new another. We always talk about how pedophiles and how bad it is, but it's been covered up and covered up and covered up for so long, not just across the world, right? It's like
Stark County spooks. That's where he was the police chief in
Stark County, spooky. Where's Stark County? Like what cities you don't go to Stark County for anything? I mean, Carroll County. I don't know who goes to Carroll County for anything, but
yeah, the world is run by PDFs. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, all right, let's talk about, can I take it to a spiritual place too? So I don't think Skinny says, I don't think people realize how many PDFs are in law enforcement. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. It's the county seat is Knox. Okay, that's
no.
okay, Stark County, an
Which
hour
area?
from Delphi.
Closer to Chicago, or is it closer to Cincinnati? Like in what? Terre Haute, Delphi? Like which way are we going? Like Stark County? Have no idea.
Closer to Chicago.
Chicago. Okay.
That's
So
what
it's not far
it
away
said.
from. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's the
So is it
whole
like what's the city where Michael Jackson was born? What's the name of the city? It's kind of closer. Also, it's Indiana, but closer to Chicago, and it was like really, really tough.
You know who else was from there? You remember the movie Party Monster?
Mm-mm.
Michael Alec. He's from Indiana too. He moved to New York City, became like a Gary. Oh, Gary. I'm sorry,
Gary, Indiana.
Gary.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's a Gary.
Spooky.
Yeah.
It's like 2 counties south of Lake County, not far from Delphi. 35 takes you to Knox.
Wow. So wow, Michael. There's something. One day we're gonna know the truth. We're gonna know the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's all pretty much arranged in this way. Like this matrix has been coded and programmed in such a way, and as it's breaking. It's breaking. So
Uh, this
I think
day
we
is breaking. Like Michael Jackson. Oh, I don't even want to go there, but like for years they made us like try to make us believe that he is like the. If you think about like a scary evil pedophile, that's Michael
yeah.
Jackson, but it's someone that looks like we see walking on the street, right? And law enforcement
It's a priest, it's a cop,
priest. It's a
a lawyer.
nicely dressed man, all groomed. Wizard of Oz was written in Knox. Wow.
Wow.
Not Kansas.
That's surreal.
It is surreal. Wow. It is surreal for sure.
All right. So
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of us catching on to it now. A lot of dirty lawyers go to Stark County to party at hunting lodges.
Hunting lodges, really? And maybe Masonic lodges too.
Well, Oksana went ahead and said it. Okay.
In
those are the
Indiana,
lodges.
in Fort Wayne, so goals. So I walked stayed in the hotel nearby, and I walked from the hotel to the courthouse. Like it's on the street over. It's like literally on the other side of the courthouse. There's a big Masonic. I walk by and it's like a Masonic some temple.
They're
Like on the other
everywhere.
side of the courthouse.
I live in New Jersey, and we have Masonic lodges
Sandra,
everywhere.
oh, Sandra, yeah.
We
Sandra,
have the Sandra Birchmore. Yeah, definitely. In fact, wait, Andrea just did she's worried about the case against Matt
I
Farwell.
saw that. I bookmarked it, but like against what's his name? You know, the state of Massachusetts, that Norfolk County, they still have not charged him. You know how like
They won't
Luigi is being charged by federally
in the
and by
state.
the state? No,
Yeah,
no.
but
Massachusetts
because
doesn't want to do it.
and Massachusetts is the one that could charge him with murder. Um, I think they're getting him on what witness tampering. They might get him. I think they're getting him maybe on interstate fraud. I
They charge
think,
him for oh, I think they charged him for something. Um,
but they can't get him on murder
I
because
really want
of.
to know who, who's the father of her baby. That's what they know already. I'm sure they tested. They know.
Well, I think the latest allegation, and I'm not sure if anybody in the chat has more information. But they're saying now, well, Farwell's team is saying that she was involved with a federal officer sexually as well, like a federal agent. Is that what I heard?
Really?
I think so. But I think that's like if you think about it, Brian Higgins would be considered a federal agent,
Yes. He gives
right?
me that.
So
Doug
it could be a
Carter.
Higgins
Isn't the,
guy.
the perfect, like, creepiest. I don't know. Doug Carter, I never understood. Like, he's like an alien to me. Like, I don't understand Doug Carter. Like, I totally, like, it's like I
Oh
don't get it
yeah.
at all. Like, the way, like, he's just gives me the.
They all give me the
Rushmore for
heebie-jeebies.
sure was trafficked, but she wasn't the only one, and I really want to understand why they want to keep it all under wraps. Well, Canton, by the
Well,
way, did you guys see how much Canton and Morrissey people are in Epstein files?
whoa, wait.
Yeah.
Yes, that, but Skinny just said Doug Carter was buddy with Larry Nasser. Shut the
No, stop
front
it.
door. You're lying now. How do you know that? Because that's so crazy.
Maybe also with Mike Pence.
It's so
There's
funny. Anyway, uh,
Larry Nassar, really?
I think he's joking because that would be
Yeah,
crazy.
that would be crazy.
I think we're being funny, but anyway, I can't believe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't
first
believe that they're
go to
keeping.
DOJ, like to that link for Epstein files, and search Canton, which is crazy to me. Like, I think it's gonna be connected to Birchmore case.
He's not joking at all. He was really in with Larry Nasser. What the See, this is the thing. With Jay Abbott. So this is the thing. Everybody's pointing to Epstein as like the guy. And Beto said this on
Well,
with Nurse Kim.
yeah.
It's not Epstein. Like he's not the guy. Like he's a
He's
PDF.
the wizard, maybe of Oz, but
I
they're
no, the weird okay, so I'm gonna send out this link. If you guys ever see what was his name? He's he is a physicist and he is a scientist and he met Epstein and he's like I feel like I just met an entity because it's like Epstein is just like an op. Like he's
yeah,
not
yeah,
even a
yeah,
person.
yeah.
He was just here to like perpetuate whatever system they have.
Project manager.
Yeah, exactly. Like wherever he's from,
How did
whether
he get on the Rockefeller? Like, he was a math teacher or something, right?
he was
Math
a high
teacher.
school dropout or a college dropout,
Yeah,
and
but
then
then
he
somehow,
lied.
yeah, and all of a sudden he's on the Rockefeller board.
Yes,
Excuse
so
me?
yeah, so watch Born Rich by
Yes.
on Netflix,
Yeah,
okay?
I'm
They
gonna,
go
yeah.
so he was a college dropout and then he lied his way into some like an off Wall Street trading company, met somebody, started banging the secretary who happened to be the boss's daughter or something, then got a job as like a partner, and then got a job teaching because he had that experience at that trading company or whatever. Then he got a job teaching in a university or a college, I think, or was it
I think it was college, but or
yeah,
first high school, then it was college, but it was just it
high
was
school then
normal,
college, yeah.
nothing. His family wasn't rich. There was nothing.
Nothing, no. But he was an operative. I think that's when he became an op. And yeah.
There's too many connections to Russians. There's too many connections to rich and powerful people.
Okay,
Too many
wait. Hold on. Spooky. I'm gonna.
fake
Do you
teachers.
want me to send you a link? So she said that she worked her NDA expired and she worked a flight for Epstein, and it haunts me to this day. Do you want to talk
What?
about it? Do you want? All right, hold on.
What?
Hold on. I'm gonna go off camera and send her a link. If she wants to come, you're welcome to come. Hold on.
Maybe you need a whole another
Talk. Well, maybe I don't. No.
stream. I am gonna dig into Epstein files because it
Take it over, Oksana.
haunts me. Like there was no like before. I was like, yeah, probably no suicide, but now you read like there's a news that wasn't used as a news. There was a it's insane. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like I always thought it was like you know conspiracy theories, right? But if you will read like those reports of how the camera, so there is 4 cameras in the pod, whatever, and there was a shoe. It's like this special unit, right? So very high security unit in Manhattan prison, and so somehow 3 of the 4 cameras are not working, and the one that's working, it's like looking at guard's desk and basically not none of the staircase that goes up to his unit, slightly one little sliver. Like really 3 cameras are not working that night.
Sorry,
And
I
the
just
minute jumps, like it's for real jumps. It's like from 250 to 11:58 to 11:59 when Pam Bondi tried to say like every time at the end of the hour, every minute jumps, lies.
yeah. Well, Spooky's not gonna come on. We'll do something
Well,
maybe some other time.
that's probably something.
And I agree with Skinny.
Yeah, I agree. But the more, but I almost feel like I don't know, and it's nothing that
She
I
needs
please don't take it spooky as any kind of like advice, but part of me thinks like the more people like just gonna say something, then they can't do anything. Like you just the more you speak, the more I don't know.
well, that's the thing. But okay, so let's just talk about it. So Virginia Giuffre, she was
Oh,
murdered, okay?
mhm.
But whatever. However she died. But then and this haunted me when it happened. So she passed in March. And then in April, I think it was a federal prosecutor in DC, and I posted the article. I'll post it again. She was just found dead.
So hold on. She was a prosecutor of what? What
She
case?
was she was
Federal,
I don't know that she was connected like
but she was just found.
publicly, but she was a female federal prosecutor who was found dead in her home, and she had epilepsy, and they said that's just how she died. I don't believe when it happened, it just felt wrong to me. I don't know what the connection is, but it was like right when probably shouldn't be talking like this, but
Why
it was
not?
right after, like, Trump came into office at the end of January. Then we have February, then March. That one goes missing. That one's gone. That I don't know what she was connected to, what she was investigating, or what was going on. You don't know, right? Because then Virginia died, and then if you look at the history in New York, like Diddy, right, and
Mhm.
everything that happened with her, then the prosecutor, she's gone now, right? So the one who tried that case, she's gone. So they're just getting rid of everybody who's like actually pecking away at
I'm
these
sure it's a
ranks.
coincidence on somehow, because I don't want to like because it sounds so conspiratory, and not like we talked about any conspiracy theories tonight, but Savannah Guthrie, right?
Yeah,
Guthrie,
Gouffre or something. Yeah, something like that.
Guthrie. Yeah,
Oh
she
no, Samantha. Oh, that was the
Savannah
reporter.
Guthrie.
The reporter.
Yes,
Yes.
Guthrie,
Okay.
Guthrie.
Yes,
Her mom
Guthrie.
goes missing, right? And there's like
Yes.
some kind of development. I know developments
Yes.
happen over the last few hours.
Oh
Oh, over here.
no, now you're here.
Okay, Guthrie. That's right, Savannah Guthrie. She interviewed Virginia. I
Yes.
never know how to say her name.
Right. Gouffre or something like that.
Guffray, Guffray. She was the last one to interview her before her death.
Yes. Yes. Oh, she
Yep.
interviewed all the victims. Well, not all of them, but a group of them. Yeah, like
Right.
Mars said.
And her mom, now, of course, like, why would, and then, Trump never talks about like criminal investigations of missing people. And now you hear him talk about it. And now he said, when he's there, Force One, that like soon we're going to find out more GOG. Like, why even comment on, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't
We're
want
gonna
to
put
like
it.
disclosure. I don't know.
Is it a distraction? Could be because we don't know what's like there's other things. uh, I do think they like to distract with this topic. I really do, because now they can focus on the banking and other things like that.
I don't think Epstein though it's like is a distraction. I think everything's from I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand anything, but I know everything is connected somehow and I don't trust anyone. I think at this point, no right like politicians, government in general, like I don't trust anyone in government. Anyone.
Who was it? I think Keith commented on somebody else's post, and I just happened to see it, and it was a judge, and he was like, he was like the only judge you'll hear. He's like, I don't know about investigating. I don't know about. He's like, I would just find them guilty and hang them publicly. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, but it's true. I it's hard because you
There's so
don't want to
much we
say.
don't know and so much connected on money. I think, one of the worst things here for so in Europe, how you like when you vote, you can't donate more than like we didn't even have such a thing as donations to
Mhm,
campaigns, right? Like, why do you need so much money to campaign? Like, you need ads, okay? You need ads. They don't cost millions and billions of dollars, right?
mhm,
And then 30 days before the elections, any ads, political ads, are illegal. Like for the last 30 days before elections, there no ads are allowed because people have to make up their own mind. For 30 days, you cannot run any ads, you cannot go talk to anybody, you cannot campaign, you cannot do nothing for 30 days, right? So this whole and then when you realize how much money is behind every campaign and pack and this, like why do we need money to run? Like you have to have so much money to run for for office. Why do you have to why? It makes
yeah.
zero sense to me. Like that's how it all starts, right? You get money, you get more money, you get more money, and people that donate you, then you have to feel that you have to have loyalty to them and more loyalty and more loyalty. And by the time you're all the way up there, there's so much loyalty that you have to show to your donors that you're a bot. You're just a puppet. You
Okay,
just
and that's a big example, and it's very like a more macro example in one system, but that operates in so many different ways. The same thing with the Beverly Canonis and the Judge Gold. It's the same concept of being of this loyalty through money, and
yes.
even like the whatever the DA office in
Yeah.
Norfolk County, what's going on in Delphi, in the Catholic Church, even in other like spiritual communities, it's all the same
So connect.
it's the same concept. And what I think was interesting, if you remember in the very beginning of our conversation, Oksana, where we were talking about feeling afraid to speak up,
Yeah.
right? And then we just had this experience with Spooky and
Right.
telling her not to speak up because these people are dangerous. And
It
it's
shouldn't be happening in America, right? It should not be
exactly.
happening. It's the freest. It's the example for for the rest of the world how to build a society, right?
Mhm.
It's that example that the whole for generations, like everybody looked up and like we do it like America. We need to do it like America does it. We need to treat people like America treat people. We need to like that example, right? And now we are starting to think about
Are
what
we
we
starting
can
to, or have we always?
say.
Is it just that we see it more now?
More in the open. Like I think part of it again, kind of go back to spiritual portion of it. I think people see once you see something, you cannot unsee. Once you get, it's like it's what we talked about empathy and having that this not for you like filling certain spots that we cannot fill for ourselves, right?
Mhm.
You have to have some kind of trauma in your childhood, early development till ages, right?
Mhm.
Have to have some kind of trauma, unfortunately, to be that person, to feel for others, to feel empathy. And
Mhm.
then you start like as time goes on and you see more, you evolve to a point when you start seeing. I feel like a lot of people since COVID was another, I don't know what to even say. We sat down, we were just
Is
slow down for a
conditioning.
minute.
Yeah.
And we started seeing, I think we started seeing more and more. Like you can't unsee. They're doing the same tricks, they're trying to do the same tricks on us. They're just not working anymore.
Correct.
They were doing more and more and more, all kinds of let's try this, but they're just not working because we're seeing. We don't know what it is. We don't know what to do with it, but we know we can't believe it. We know they're lying, they're lying, they're lying, everybody's lying. We're seeing through it. It's like for a while I was like, are they just becoming so juvenile and so horrible at lying and covering it up? Or we're just seeing it? And I'm like, no, I think we're seeing it because they have so many tools, but you can just see it's a lie. It's absolute lie. You're covering your ass. You're afraid to, just a lie. And I think people are not believing it anymore.
And energetically too, so we had Neptune in Pisces for a whole bunch of years, and it was really easy to cast an illusion. It was really easy to deceive somebody, but Aries Neptune is now in Aries, and
Yeah,
Saturn is moving into Aries. All of that illusion goes away. It's a different kind of illusion that comes in now.
right?
Right. Yeah, and it's a different kind of illusion, but now it's going to be more, in my opinion, it's going to be more along with Pluto and Aquarius, it's going to be more collective but it's also could be potentially more dangerous and volatile, right? Because it's
Not going
Aries.
through some kind of transformation. I feel like in everybody, and I try to ask people because I feel like everybody's stressed over like stressed, right? I don't like I lately I don't
Mhm.
like last year, let's say 2 years, you don't really see a lot of happy people, happy couples, happy people. Like everybody wants to be alone more. Everybody wants to spend time on like their personal development, right? To be no part, like I don't want to go out on a Saturday, like even if I have time, like I don't want to go out. I want to be home. I want to
Yeah.
be by myself. I want to be with like as crazy as it sounds and chat with you guys, right? Like this gives me soul food, right? And I see more and more people like that and
Mhm.
less and like that illusion, like you don't see a lot of happy people, but more, maybe more peace, maybe more personal development or finding self, but you don't see a lot of like this like yay let's go party people.
I mean, yes, I
Mhm.
agree with you, but I also am part
Everything
of.
feels off, everything feels off.
Yeah, well, everything is gonna yeah, everything feels off right now because in my opinion, it's because we have generational planets moving, and they're all moving at the same time. And I live, yeah,
Mhm.
all I said, I lived 9 lives in my 20s. I'm a happy homebody now. Yeah, so that's the to like who like our age, like we're a little bit older, like the kids in their 20s right now, they might not feel the same way, right? Um
Yeah, maybe.
So it could be that too, but I also think it's collective. I think it's if you did go within during COVID, you have prepared for what we're about for the unveiling, right?
Mhm.
Those who did not hermit during COVID and they did not and the
They can't.
pandemic and isolation, if you didn't heal yourself, if you didn't at least take a little bit of that time to go inward, then
Mhm.
you're still running that rat race. You're still fully in this matrix.
It was so amazing. Yes, it was scary. Yes, it was. But still, like, I have some, even, you hear people like what they did to us during COVID is such a, genocide. And like, I'm like, really? How many people right now would say, like, let me work from home for a few weeks, you know?
Yeah. Look at him. So we're in an eclipse. Your wife and I have some huge news coming on the 26th. Her date is next week, mine's week after. Okay. Should we expect good news, Carrie? Always expect good news.
Always expect good
Always
news.
expect good news. It's an eclipse season. I don't I don't know. If you
Things
want
are
me to
working
take a look
out.
at your chart, I'd be happy to.
Somehow, maybe it's like not as happy, but somehow, if you trust, like, now you can like things will work out. The true belief, and somehow they will work out.
Mhm. Well, okay, so that's
Believing.
the other thing that we need to be doing right now is and I'm okay. So I don't know if I want to talk about it right now, but
Yeah.
I'm going to like launch something where I can actually start teaching people like basic like Reiki and like how to heal yourself with that. And then also like I think we need to work on our meditation and
Mhm.
kind of expanding our consciousness and getting outside of the matrix, right? So that's kind of, and I think the true crime community needs to do it because honestly, we're the ones who already see beyond the veil and we have the skills and we have like all eyes and all these sleuths, right? And these are the brains that need to be protected the most from all
Mhm.
of the conditioning and the craziness that's about to come. We really need to be protecting ourselves by expanding our consciousness and kind of elevating out of this
Mhm.
matrix together. Um, that's what
And the
how I
kids are
feel.
different. Like, I feel like kids are different. Like my 23-year-old, my 11-year-old. I feel like I can't wait till they grow up and actually run the world, because they're really good. Like, they're not. I don't think they can gaslight those kids. They're like different types of kids. Maybe, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe we were all
What
like, but
what age? What, the 20s or younger?
no, the younger one, the 11-year-old. I think they're just like made out of different cloth altogether.
They are. And my same. I have a 12 and a 10-year-old. I can't they are like me when I it took me about 30 years to get to where they are in terms of emotional intelligence and being it they're in
Yeah.
so advanced. I agree with you.
They also like being alone, which is weird. Usually kids are more social, right?
Um I think that we were more susceptible to groupthink than
Mhm.
they are. I think they're a lot more discerning. I also think that it depends on the parents. I think that our kids are probably like this because they have us as parents. I'm not
Yeah.
sure that other kids that may not have as responsive or emotionally intelligent parents would have that same experience.
That's also true. As a classic overthinker said, my daughter is 20 years old. She doesn't take shit from anyone.
Mm,
My daughter, 20, will be 23 next. She does not. She is the sweetest. Like, anybody, if you meet her, she's like the sweetest, most social person, but she will not take shit from anyone either. Like, will not. Absolutely not. From me, from her father, from anyone.
yeah. So I'm just scrolling back in the chat. She was saying, oh, Classic was in Melbourne, Australia, longest lockdowns of the world. I heard they were horrible in terms
Yeah.
of lockdown.
Yeah.
That you literally could only walk down one street for like 1 hour or
Yeah,
something and
see,
then
we
go
didn't
back.
have that. I'm talking about our lockdowns, right? Like, we could still be outside. We could still do. Yeah, we had to wear masks, and everybody freaked out about masks, which probably was stupid now looking back, but we didn't know. But I think that hermiting was needed, at least for adult. I don't know, but my daughter went to kindergarten during COVID, and I don't know if that affected. Like, she didn't mind. I mean, they still did all the,
Mhm.
like, I didn't. To me, it was a positive experience. Yes, it was scary. Yes, it was, but how it wasn't really like in lockdown for a very long time. I mean, maybe a month, and then social distancing and all that, but it didn't feel like anything.
Oh, well, I feel like I'm still in lockdown. I have to be honest with you. Like I'm still
That's
like
by
I
choice. I'm in lockdown by choice too.
yeah, no, but like I left my job and like my life completely changed after that. So it was like pre-COVID was like one phase of my life, and then the next phase started about a year after lockdown. And so yeah, I mean, for me it was necessary because it totally helped me
Yeah.
completely change my life and get to who I actually was. Um
How many people feel like there was life before 2020, March of 2020, and now it's like that was the
yeah.
last day, that March, whatever, 13th of 2020 was the last day of life as we knew it at the time.
Yeah, I think we many of us, most of us feel that way. Some of us, I mean, I know that there are some people who are like, get over it already. Like, just go back to regular life. Like, some people never stopped, is what I'm trying to say, and
Yes.
they didn't take that time to change. They didn't take that time to heal or to look inward, and they couldn't
Yeah.
wait to get back to the distraction of life. You know,
Yeah.
so I
We
think.
all have probably that friend. I have a really good friend, and like we're totally different, but she cannot be home alone. So like if her husband goes to the gym right after she comes back home, like she has to go somewhere and spend time with her friends. And then the only time, like there's an hour, I think on Saturdays, that she spends by herself, and like she has to prepare herself. And she's like, I'm so glad I can spend an hour home by myself without my husband. And, and it's just not that it's wrong or not, but being not being able to be alone, right? Like there's something special about being okay with being alone, right? Just with being friends with yourself and being okay, being at peace.
A huge opportunity for healing PTSD trauma
Hmm.
and anxious attachment styles and things like that. It was huge. So, absolutely, to be able to be alone.
8 March. What's 8 March? That's a International Women's Day. Like that we it was a big, I think now it's becoming here too, but it was such a big, like growing up in Europe, it's like such a big holiday, March 8th.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. For you guys it was March 8th in California, in Australia. I
Australia.
remember I was March 13th, like I was I work in property management, real estate, and I also like sit on the board of directors with apartment associations. So once a year, haven't been in it since then, but once a year we went to on Capitol Hill to kind of advocate for, you know, fair laws and like certain things for our industry and something like that. So we were in we were in DC, like a group of us were in DC in March when it's like lockdown happened, and it was crazy.
Yeah. I'm just still shocked. Wait, was it Classic who said that she got out of
Somebody here in America, see that nobody like
a, thou-
they try to find people here
a
in America
$10,000
wearing
fine.
it'd be funny.
$10,000 fine.
It would be funny
That's
if somebody tried to do that here in America,
that's
Like
insane.
if you drive, like I drive to Indiana pretty much every week, so I always drove like so from Cincinnati to uh, Indy, and like if you stop by at the gas station, whatever, everybody wears a mask. In Indiana, it was like rarely, or you could easily, like very rarely, you'd see someone actually wearing a mask in Indiana. It was like it didn't exist,
Yeah. Interesting. You
at
know what
least.
my favorite part of COVID, the lockdown, was that they turned off all the tolls on the highway.
Oh, they
So
did, really?
yeah, yeah. So you didn't have to pay. There weren't any toll collectors. They
Right.
turned off the Easy Pass. So I got all the kids and I got the kids in the car and I kept going to the beach. And in New Jersey, that's where I am, the ocean, because of COVID, because there wasn't that much ships, there
Yeah,
weren't many ships
yeah,
coming in and out,
yeah.
blue. It
But
was
see,
it was so clean. And you could see it was
crazy.
like Florida. Like
No
And
way.
no, yeah, and I was like, "Wow, it really is dirty." I had no idea, but, like, it was so the ocean was so
Mm.
blue and so clear and gorgeous. It was, like, the best j
The
time on the
air
Jersey
felt
Shore.
fresher. There was definitely
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
And then, like in the business world, like I feel like it was such a huge deal that we were able to like get into these Zoom meetings, because now like what was like in-person meeting that you had to drive somewhere, even fly, right? It can be a Zoom meeting or an email.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that. Like, what's funny is that a lot of the places they stopped this year with the virtual meetings. I've noticed that. Um, but maybe it's just my
Yeah.
perspective and who I'm dealing with, but for the
Yeah.
most part,
A little bit less, but it's still state as a part of, like, at least it's possible, right? Like, why do we need to schedule like a meeting in person if we can just do a much quicker meeting over
yeah.
Zoom?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped balance out the work-life balance for the most part. The opportunities to work remotely or at least
Yeah,
hybrid. And
yeah,
I think that's been helpful for families, and we're gonna need it going into what we're going into with this new shift.
for sure. And it's some of the companies, yes, there's certain industries where you can't, like in property management, you cannot manage an apartment community as a property manager without being on site. But the corporate positions, and there's so many,
Mm,
like I usually work like 2 days from home, typically out of the week, and then I visit, either properties, corporate office. But the 2 days that I work from home, I am more productive than in the office.
mhm. Well, you're socializing too, right? Because you're not always in the office, so you get to
Right.
see
So the day
people.
that I work from home, I get so much done just because it's me and the computer and the phone, and like just
Right.
get so much done. Now there's some people that I can understand how like you can't. Some companies don't trust people to actually get the work done, but you'll
Mhm.
see if they're like, we need to trust people more, right? You can get much like as far as the employees and the everybody wants to work for the company that trusts them, right? They want to offer commitment. They want to get, so if you want to get the quality people, you have to trust them,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's true. And there's not a lot of that going on from the corporations anymore.
Well, they need to change our culture. They have to
Yeah.
value, like, you can't, yeah, just
Yeah.
like anything in the world, right?
Yep, like everything else. That's right. I think we're gonna I don't know how you're feeling. I'm pretty
Yeah,
tired and
I was I was a happy day today with the volleyball. Someone new, like my daughter's
yeah.
year of playing volleyball. So I not, last year they were so young and like didn't know what, you know, and today was a second tournament day and they started at 7:30. And like usually like last year we would stop at like 1, 2, whatever.
Mhm.
And now they got to the brackets, and so they get to the
That's
last
awesome.
championship, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Almost, it was so exciting. I mean, it was like so exciting to like to see them win. It was awesome. But software, what did Skinny say? I'm a software developer. I can
Skinny
work in a tree house. Yeah, but companies aren't allowing remote work now like they used to. Not a very good, like good companies do. They also don't have to pay for office space. There's taxes. There's so much savings,
overhead. Yeah.
overhead, so much savings in not having a physical office, right? But companies are afraid.
And again, it's that power. They want I'm sorry, but
I want
corporations
to come
depending
to work
on
as a boss, and I want to see my slaves here sitting there in their cubicles and working.
right, and you need to feel like a little unsafe, like your job is not that safe, like you have to be doing, if there's this power element, the power dynamic that does play out in
But I
corporations.
found people will work so much. It's you don't do it for that, right? But I found
Mhm,
if you trust people and you invest in people and you commit to people, they will work so hard and they will make your customers happy. And that's
mhm.
gonna make your business happy. Like it's such a basic
And
under
I Yeah, and I
So,
think that's going to continue. It's just going to be smaller businesses now instead of huge corporations. But it's going to take like 45 years, 50 years for that to happen. It's not going to happen right away, you know?
yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But it was amazing having you on, Oksana.
Thank you so much. It was like food for my soul to see
Right.
all my favorite names and all my favorite people and you, and you have such a welcoming, huge personality and a kind heart. So pleasure was all mine.
Thank you, Oksana.
I
I'd love to have you back. No, and like next time, because we really went Delphi. We went full crank. We did go full crank.
oh,
And I'm happy about it. I think we needed
Delphi is
it.
always gonna be the
Yeah.
hill I'll die on.
It's gonna be the hill you die on. But maybe one day we could come back, talk more spirituality,
Yes,
because there's so much more to talk about in terms of you and with you
yes,
and spirituality and things like
more
that.
than
And
happy.
yeah, and I want to thank everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out. This was so much
Thank
fun. I
you
can't
so much. On a
believe,
Saturday night, look at this. We had
and
a
I can't believe 3 hours. I've never done anything like
no
this
way.
before.
Three, oh,
Yeah, like I can't believe it. We've been talking
no
for three
way.
hours. I
Best date
everybody
I've had in years.
and everybody tell Oksana that she needs to start a YouTube channel. And I also like so let her know in on X, get her in her DM, start don't really harass her, but just remind her that maybe she needs to start a
Mm,
platform herself and she would be amazing. Look at what she did tonight. And then guys, on the 13th, I'm gonna be having Teresa for criminality on. So I'd love everyone to come back. And if anybody wants to
2:13.
hop in and talk, because it is the anniversary of the girls, I know it's
Yes.
your daughter's birthday, but it
Um,
is a
yeah,
solemn day, and I would
big
love to
day.
bring the crew together.
We'll be there.
Uh, awesome.
We'll be there.
So
What
uh,
time?
9 p.m. 9 p.m. and we'll see how far we go. But I want to bring on everybody, so
Yes.
I
I
want to
love
spend this.
this. I love this. There's so many amazing people
Yeah,
that know the case in and out and been watching for years. And I think it's like the bringing cranks on is such a great idea because we want to, share our experiences too. And we love each other, like with
yeah.
like family. So I think,
And we all have stories. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Spooky's my interview with Spooky. Like, I went on there. We didn't. It was not an interview. It was a chat. But like, go to her channel. That was a really great conversation about religion. Like, we all have our backstories and our and what brought us here. And Delphi. It's a huge part of who we are in this space. But there's so much more. And yeah, I just really love talking to everybody and getting to
I
know
bet you
all of
when we
our
hear all of
stories.
the stories, there's going to be connection on some level. We'll find out.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you, Oksana. Thank you, chat. I love all of you. And I hope you have a great night. Bye, guys.